And we're live.
Oh, man. Pressure's on now, boy.
Dinner served. I'm still cooking food for guys eating or no?
That's about the third pizza for you now?
No, it's 2 Cheetos and a pizza.
Okay.
There's a difference, Posse.
Wait. I was going to bring my spray bottle tonight, too. No.
Break plate. Montana says I already overdosed on that daily. She told me that earlier.
Oh, man.
All right, let's see who's off. I can't read because the lights are on.
Yeah, blame it on that.
You didn't have it prepared?
No, we
Come on,
never
Connor.
are prepared in here. Where's your little?
What are you doing?
Is this your first day?
There's plenty of light.
No, but the problem is I can't see that.
He says there's
Less
too much light.
Less
Put
light.
the comments back on the screen.
No.
Climb up on the ladder. Get
Yeah,
some light
that's
bulbs
what
out.
I'm
They might be hot, though. Be careful.
Well, they're LEDs.
They're fucking hot. What are we doing?
We're watching. We should flip the camera.
Kyle's in.
so we can
Eli's
see
in. Luke's in. Steve's in.
All right.
Both Kyles are in. Pictures repair and Kyle Chris. Mr. Stubb? Is that what it is? Did you read that or not?
Yep, Mr. Stubb. Nathan's in.
These contacts only read billboard. I'm out.
Why did you wear your contacts, not your fucking glasses?
It's the persona.
Oh.
It's the persona now. Had to ditch the glasses.
I'm mentally fat ass deleting that.
Text? Nope. Look out.
There we go.
Wow. That's actually better.
No,
Yeah.
I can't see.
I don't know if you want to walk in front of the screen, I can see, but. They want to buy the Cat 10.
Who's Cat 10?
Yours.
Why?
I don't know, because they want you to sell it.
I'm not done with Cat 10 yet. Good evening, Rick and Toby, somebody said.
Charity auction.
Luke wants
It's
to know.
right in Maine. Oh, yeah.
Luke wants to know if Toby's gonna fix the pug.
No. I don't fix things that are broken and aren't mine anymore. At the rate I fix things anyhow, I think Rick's going to have it done a lot faster than I could.
Definitely fuck cancer. Yes. Spark plugs in. I'm trying to keep up here. These guys can't read comments to save their lives. But
Chad Williams, greetings, y'all.
I'm still at one. So.
Swagger.
I thought you were going to pull it up on your phone.
I
Yeah,
have service in here.
Oh,
you're
Link
not
to my
connected to
Wi-Fi.
the Wi-Fi.
You probably have a password on it, don't you?
You can go to the 2.4 or the 5.0. It'll be fine.
Kyle says, Chad, doing great. Rick sent syrup today with glitter.
Glitter. I didn't know you put syrup on glitter.
You can see my keyboard clearly.
Rick, put the snowmobile helmet on. I want to see that live.
Oh, that was funny. You should have seen that picture that Connor sent.
I'll see if
Hey,
I can.
Oh my God.
Somebody pull up the donation page and you drop 100 and I'll put the snowmobile helmet on. It's all for donations, boys. I'll drink beers, whatever you need me to do. Let's do it.
Let's see if we can.
Y'all see that?
Hey, you're taking away from donations here.
This is photo. We're doing it live for the money.
In case the definition didn't come through, he totally had the I'm gonna rip it like a fat kid look on his face.
Yeah, it's not.
He had the GoPro all set up on the chest rig, getting the gloves on.
There's too much glare. It won't let it.
Good.
Try turning down your brightness.
Well, I could do that.
Zachary Heidi says, "Oh yeah, Squatch 253 on the Rick Work channel live. How is everyone?
Here, let's try that.
You getting it figured out? That's a little bit better.
It's a little better, but it won't focus now. Come on, focus.
Oh, I'm trying to get my.
There it is.
There it is. He is suiting up. It's no crossover.
Montana didn't even get to see that one, did she?
It's something else.
Oh, that's a great.
It can't be unseen once you see it.
Shut up.
Clay dropped a 10.
Okay, just to be clear, I will match some of this but if you guys are going to super chat me, YouTube takes 45% of it, and
45%.
taxes take a third of that.
Another
So
30, so there's not a lot.
you're
left.
better off going to the link at the top of the screen and donating it there. However, I will match some.
It told me incorrect. Oh, you're connecting.
That one's free. The other one, you're going to have to.
Hi, Squatch and Rick. Hi, right back.
Squatch, it's good to see you.
Crazy Nordlander. Hi to all.
So the best part is all the people that are here on a regular basis are color coded. So the gray ones are your people,
Might
except for Catman. He's been here before. I just haven't given him a wrench.
No, there's a few like Kyle Crisp. He's a blue guy. He's on my channel. There's a few.
I was
Lee Harris.
okay,
He's over on mine.
You're failing to differentiate here, bud. I'm talking about the new people that you brought over here for you. What are you doing?
I'm trying to give him a moderator. Check, man.
All right.
There.
Just remember, with great power comes great responsibility. If we get a troll in here, we can time him out to oblivion. Enough people click on.
Jeremy says he's not new. You haven't been here in a while, though, but I appreciate you. Don't super chat here. Send all donations here. There you go.
Yeah,
There should be the
Luke's in with the link right
It's up,
there.
it's up at the top of the screen, too. Up at the top of the messages. You can click on either one.
Luke's on it tonight.
Trolls don't last here.
Joe Monch, $20.
Joe, I appreciate you,
Joey
buddy.
from my son.
Heck yeah, man.
From Joey.
Eric Walters is in.
Appreciate you, bud. Eric Walters, hello from Elkhart.
Clayson's been a member over at Squatch a long time. Can't remember at Bort. Too many swear words.
Shop time with Dave. He's seconding the link. Plenty of links up there.
Martin says this should be good.
Weeby Deers, he made it. He's on
It's been requested that I be semi-professional tonight. So.
at least for the first 30 minutes. Disclaimer: I cannot be held responsible for anything Rick Pork may say.
Michael, what's going on, buddy?
Weeby Deers, he was plowing all this stuff shortly before it got here. It's still not great here. I made it. Oh, well, Big Red. I had 4-wheel drive in most of the way, but
Matthew says donation sent. I appreciate you, buddy.
appreciate you, man. Good job.
Chuck says he lost his son to cancer. Give it hell, guys and gals.
Chuck, I appreciate you, man.
Shannon's got the link to the fundraiser.
Plenty of links.
Scrap Whisperer says semi-professional. Really? Hey, I do my best. Sometimes I can go above and beyond. But
Luke wants to know what the price for Tessa's Chickalobe is.
200. If you can show me you donated 200, I'll drink it right now.
Weeby Deers going back out again in the morning. Hit it all over again. Never stops.
Logan says this winter's been hell. That's for sure.
Same snow, different day.
Jesse's in. Good thing you guys are doing here. What?
He's saying it's a good thing that what we're doing here. Yeah.
Appreciate you, bud.
Why does Jesse not have a wrench?
I don't know. Give him a wrench. Because I'm Jesse's wrench, so that's why he doesn't have a wrench.
I did not find a truck.
Michael Brash is in.
No truck yet. We're getting there.
Zach says this one hell of a crew for a Saturday night.
We all fit. We had to scrunch the chairs in a little bit. I think everybody's here.
I bought a special wide-angle lens for live streaming, so that way I fit in, and then I just have to stand in the background. So
You guys have all that? There's some depth there.
You're welcome.
I'm still getting the hang of, I want to watch the screen, but I should watch there. But if I watch there, I can't watch there. This is hard.
But you also got to watch the comments.
I
too.
know. I'm starting to think the glasses should have made the trip.
Nathan wants to know if there's any good candidates
Candidates.
for trucks. I'm assuming.
Just make sure it doesn't have a diesel. I'm pretty
Shannon
biased.
says I hope you three don't get caught in Rick's orbit.
We'll have to set the brake lock on the wheels.
They're more screwed than that. Clay's magical lands in. Live streaming is for nerds, guys. Kind of a nerd sometimes.
We're all good company. Fortunately, Logan Breedy. Fortunately, our 350 diesel has a 3-point, so I can just stick a snowblower on it and send it for snow removal tomorrow morning.
Get her done.
This
Lisa's
is the Rick
in.
Work channel, so I have to say mint.
Just gave a donation link. I hope your buddy gets better. Appreciate you, Ken.
We've hit 12,000.
Really?
Yes.
Awesome.
That is nice. Yeah, everybody from my channel, the response was great. Last I checked.
Keep it rolling.
Nathan says, Toby, you should sell those bunny hugs on your
What's-
channel.
What's Rick drinking? Budweiser.
Anyway, yeah, no, the response from my channel is great. I put the notification video up yesterday that we were doing the live, and it was last I checked, north of $800 it brought in, just the folks from
He
Spot
says I
253.
donated 100 helmet time.
You gonna do the helmet? You probably should. Well, at the rate of consumption, you're gonna need that eventually anyhow. It's probably just a wise idea.
Oh, that's right. I hung it over there in the bag. And you know where I put my helmet.
Connor's
I
getting
need a helmet.
Connor's getting it.
Face mask or no face mask? It's gonna cost an extra 50 to close the face mask.
I would probably pony up to 50 if you would close the face mask.
Oh, yeah. Good Lord, look at that. Fucking.
It's too bright again. Connor can't see his
Look
face.
at that. It is bad though, isn't it? Look. I can take down planes with this thing. I'm telling you right now. Look at that shit. Holy good Lord, man.
Where do you have a Lake Superior freight?
Wow.
Oh. He's like a lighthouse when he turns around. You get
Yeah.
a little bit of the... Oh.
I can do the beacon.
Shannon says, dude, keep that hat on. You're blinding us.
Helmet time. You gonna do it?
Someone get that man a hat.
Haircats are like that are why they invented hats. Hold on. You want
Donate
to
some,
go on a little bit closer?
donate some paste wax for Rick.
Front and center. Did you have to grease it up first?
Sure with that.
It scrunches your cheeks a little bit. It's like that picture that Cody sent to that chipmunk.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's not far off.
There's a joke for that, but
Camera's that way.
Anyway. Scrunching your cheeks isn't always a bad thing.
Cody says, put some nuts in your mouth.
You gotta quit bouncing your head off the headboard. Yeah, that's the problem.
Zachary Heidi asked me a question, but it's currently on the between the garage door panels, so I need to wait till it moves up before I can read it.
Where?
Helmet's on, but the face mask's not closed, so if you ever
Have you ever
close it.
Scott, have you ever operated still 881 59-inch bar? No, sir. I don't think I've operated 1/3 of that saw in my life. I would not be the guy to ask. I think mine's the MS 290 Farm Boss. I think it's only like a 18-inch, 16-inch bar, 18, I think. I don't know. It's not very big. Does everything we got around here, though.
True definition of 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound bag.
Wow. There's not 10
Yeah.
pounds of stuff
There-
up there.
there's-
There's not.
Never mind, he got it first. Fine, fuck it. Hey, all 0.3 pounds of this will fuck up your day. I'll tell you right now.
Hey. I should have brought the spray bottle.
Those your brake cleans over there.
Tractor Hyatt says, got the all-star crew there. And Bork.
I appreciate you, buddy.
Okay, this thing's warm.
Luke wants to know, where's the Chickalobe?
Hyatt, what's the
Did you?
Hyatt, what's the current weather situation in Florida? It's got to be better than here.
He's already mowing his freaking lawn.
Really?
Oh, fuck.
He was sending me pictures the other day. They were doing a controlled burn, and they're mowing the lawn.
Confirmation sent. Do I have to drink it with the helmet on or off?
I do have a $250 donation.
I know.
So.
So the extra 50, he gets to decide whether it's helmet on or off, because I'm sweating like a bitch. BDI's in. Brandon's in. Brandon, what's going on, buddy?
Helmet on.
Shannon Sykes, well, at least you didn't work on a Land Rover like I did today. Oh, man. Sorry, brother. That doesn't sound like any fun at all.
Land Rovers are the reason I quit the Ford garage.
That's true, actually.
That was the reason I told them I was leaving. I would have left in the long run, but
That was the great oil filter fiasco of Hot 21, if I remember correctly.
Matt the Scrap Whisperer says, my donation is in. Lost my sister to cancer in 2012. Fuck cancer.
Appreciate you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Sorry for that.
Senior electrician wants to know if we're getting a little snow yet.
Cup.
A lot of snow.
Yeah.
cup or no cup.
Senior electrician, yes, sir. Big Red made it here. It was four-wheel drive just about all the way, but we did her. It's not going to be any better driving home.
It's just bad.
Somebody says he'll donate if you cuss just once, Toby.
If I do, yeah, well, the Squatch 253 is still out. Well, about an hour in, we'll probably drop the 253. Then it'll just be Squatch. I'm not quite at Rick's level, but
Rick has plow lugs you can take home with you for the MM plow. Where did I put them?
I saw those the other day on the live though. Those things turned out pretty nice. They're a lot more professional looking than those 17 or 7/16 bolts with nuts that I put in the wheel, but they worked.
Tyler Drescher wants to know, Toby, when is the cab going on the Swamp Angel?
Well, I gotta talk like Rick sits his live stream. Well, I've got a
Do
lot.
I really talk like that?
Yeah, you do.
Do I really talk like that?
That-
you do.
The fact that she started laughing was confirmation.
Luke says to drink it from the can. You don't want to see the floaties.
Bitch.
No, the cab on the Swamp Angel, that's probably, well, I'm planning on hopping onto the Farmall H here. I was hoping like mid-March the weather would be conducive enough to get the D2 out and get the H brought into the shop, but we're still just getting it for snow. So it's probably going to be another couple weeks of X231, and then when we can get the D2 out for the first run, we'll do that with the wide tracks, swap places in the other shed, that and the H, and then the H will come in, and we are going to be spraying some red paint after we run and repairs. So that's going to take me halfway into the summer, and then we'll see what I feel like doing after that. I kind of want to leave the cab off the D2 for maybe a year and just kind of run the thing around, just open station tractor.
Will you shut up for a minute so I can read a comment?
Hey, everyone said I was going to freeze, so I'm not freezing.
Mike wants to know, speaking of the good old Ford garage, Squatch and cussing, something IDI.
We don't like IDIs.
Bring that back up in about 15, 20 minutes. Oh my God.
Zachary Heidi would like to know if Toby wants to work on his IDI.
I do not work on anyone's IDIs. Or
Can I take the helmet off yet or no?
Yeah, you can.
Senior electrician wants to know, who is the young lady?
What?
Senior
He wants to
electrician
know who
wants to know who
Montana
the
is.
young lady is.
That's my daughter.
Steve Mack would like to know if you fixed the belt on the sled yet.
She came from me, believe it or not. She's all quiet and innocent until she opens her mouth.
Joe Mons, what's the chances of getting some merchandise Squatch? I'd say pretty slim at this point yet, unless you go through channels like Rick Scott. I've looked into the whole merchandise program with YouTube, and by the time, well, we've talked about it before too, by the time you go through the official channels and do all that, you'll make about $2 per hoodie, $1 per hat or shirt, and it's just not.
It's not conducive.
Shop Cat says, did you hear the pop when Rick took the helmet off?
I Fuck.
It did get brighter.
It hurts.
You can tell that.
I mean, you need light. I mean, literally, I took shadows out. Look at that.
Somebody says, what's wrong with IDI? Love those.
I never got along with IDIs at all. I don't think I've ever really even been able to fix one. I need something I can plug a scan tool into, direct injection, any kind of diesel like that. I'll even take a 6.7 with all the emissions over an IDI. They're just, it's been a horrible experience every time I've ever even tried to work on one.
Matt the Scrap Whisperer says, Montana, we are so sorry.
Yeah, if you ever get an IDI that's got one of those caps on top of the fuel injector on the return system that leaks, and you're getting that air bubble from an unknown source and you can't find it, and it's not a fan of it.
Ether and waste oil is just the best way to run them, that's all.
You did that. Only like 30,000 miles on that thing.
Well, more than that. In a year.
I lost my dad to cancer in 1976, 19 years later to the date that he found out about his cancer. My wife found out she had breast cancer. Weird how these things happen. I'm happy to say she survived.
Good deal, man.
Appreciate you, buddy.
What are your thoughts on Cummins diesels?
Never worked on them. Never touched them.
Cody says they're better than a Ford diesel.
Ford diesel is all I ever put a wrench to. A few Cummins came in the shop and I did an oil change on them, and that's as far as I've ever got.
Nathan says, or the stupid veins stick in the pump and you get no fuel.
Hey, I remember that conversation.
Toby, Luke's IDI, just not Ford IDIs. 5J1113 is an IDI.
That is correct, but there is a world of difference between those old cat diesels and one of
Look
those,
at Luke trying to poke the fucking
one of
bear in the
those clanking, smoking, gutless And
the circumstances were a lot different too.
a lot different. My return system is a hose that drips right onto the ground, and I like it that way.
Plays Magical Land says, lost my grandfather 5 years ago. Pretty sure everyone knows a victim or two. Kyle says, no Duramaxes?
I don't think I've changed oil on a Duramax.
Nathan says, did get it running, FYI, Rick.
And when I know that, he's told me that. That was awesome. Heck yeah.
Evan's out.
Dylan Myers will be putting my donation in a little bit here. Sandblasting Oliver 770, drawbar bracket, and a few other parts.
Yeah, beer.
Enjoying every minute of y'all. I thought you'd be the first one tripping over your tongue. Get that blasting done. It's never fun.
I currently have a 6.0 Power Stroke, 100,000, bought it cheap.
Well, Hunter, you're just getting bust started, buddy.
I would rather have a 6.0 Power Stroke than any idea. I know what to do with a 6 liter. Anything that can ever break on a 6 liter, I've seen it.
Detroit was making direct injection diesel in 1938, same year as the Swamp Angel.
Sorry to hear that, Toby. Been an IDI owner for a while. Won't get you there fast, but she will get you there. Still running an 86 F350 crew cab dually.
Oh, man. Do you remember that? I think it was an 86 6.9.
250.
That 250 that was that Franken truck that we had for a while.
The cooler blew in it.
Yeah, I had.
All
Okay,
oil
so
in the coolant.
they exploded a piston on it, and then it came in.
That was my first of that.
Joe Mont
Yeah.
says he's an EcoBoost man. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, we'll stick to that. We'll stick to the 6.9 story. They exploded a piston. I had to put an engine in that thing, and it was so. An uncle of the family had built it years ago, but he put an extended cab on and body, I should say, on a regular cab frame, so nothing was lined up or proportional at that point. And then they put a gooseneck hitch in the back, which was aft of the rear axle. They're supposed to be in front of it. The thing had no weight distribution. And then that snowplow mount on the front that you just about gave yourself a hernia on, because it was the old school snowplow mount that went all the way underneath the engine back to the cross member, blocked you out of everything, and it had a manual transmission.
It was lining up the input shaft that almost gave me the hernia.
I fought
you
that
were
thing
under
for
the truck.
probably 2 hours, and finally I'm like, Rick, we need some help. I was underneath with pry bars and everything else trying to get it lined in, and I'm like, we need to pitch the front of the engine even more. And finally Rick's just, give her. And he lifts up on a thing, and finally it all just lined in and went pop, and it was there. And I rolled back off from under that, and you were just white as a sheet and sweating. I thought I blasted his guts out. We got it in, and then that's when I replaced the oil cooler tube, those end caps have to press on with those O-rings, and I cut one of those O-rings, didn't know it. So brand new engine, started it, ran it, and then pretty soon the coolant is just like milky, gritty, nasty. So then we got to flush all that out, and I don't know how many gallons of water I flushed through that thing before we finally got the oil out. I flushed it on it for 3 days, and that pretty much started my IDI bad experiences, and they never stopped from there.
Surviving Maine just said, just gave the link. Hope it helps. I'm going to duck out because there's a bad echo and I can't understand. You guys keep safe.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for your
Tom.
donation.
You guys have a good time. Have a great weekend.
Tom Mays doing a quick in and out for a thumbs up. Unexpected company. I'll have to catch the replay later.
Chuck Sapolsky's in.
Appreciate you.
Love my 6.7 Cummins. Because of the way I drive now, I bought a 2023 Chevy 2500 with a 6.6 gas engine. That's probably what I'd done too. 6.8 V10, and Big Red brought me here tonight.
Just out of curiosity, how long would the donation link be live for?
I'll leave the video up as long as you want.
Yeah.
It'll stay there. People keep donating. Why not? The guy's got a long road, so
Yeah,
there's no sense in taking it down.
that link is not to our site. We are just we're just helping out with it, so I don't know how long it's going to be.
We get nothing for it, but yeah, the guy's got a long, long road. So anything you guys can do is more the better. So Jeremy says he loves his 6.2 gasser.
Nothing wrong with that.
We had a lot of conversations about that, and I do as well.
I'm pretty negative on any of the modern diesels, anything electronically controlled. But when your job is dealing with them when they're broken, and even in a small town dealership, you have enough to stay busy at it all day, every day, all the time. There's just some headaches you don't want to bring home with you.
Senior electrician says, Montana, are you still in school or college?
I am not in school and I'm not going to college.
She's 17. She graduated from school when she was 16. She works at the bank right now. But she's in line for a promotion.
That's kind of a coincidence because you left school when you were 16 as well. Didn't graduate, but you left school.
Hey,
It runs
we're not talking about questions that were asked. Questions that were answered.
Kevin, the radio guy, wants to know, when do you think we might see the D6 rebuild?
Well, because this is a Rick Bork channel, the D6 the D6 rebuild would, I think, do very well. The problem is getting enough broken stuff out of the shop to fit the D6 into it, which pretty much means X250 or X231 is going to have to go. And I know Kyle Chris he's been lobbying to get X231 shoved as far into the back of the shipping container as humanly possible. I don't want to finish. We'll be banging on X231 a couple more weeks, but I got to get that H in paint. That's got to look a lot better than it does. And then we'll see what happens after that.
Nathan says that was a spot on well. I've seen a Frankenstein truck, 90s Ford pickup, 460 gasser, automatic. Every body panel was a different color. The rear doors were welded shut, and the entire passenger side of the cab was smashed.
I saw that truck too, I think just 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Of course, that's about what every,
You left the house 2 days ago?
Kyle
90s
says,
truck
in the
looks
can
like
with
around.
X231.
Kyle wants it to go. Kyle's been lobbying for a Torque Monster rebuild really hard. So that's pretty much a guarantee that I'm not going to get around to that.
Kyle was also supposed to have a RD4 at Plow Day. I didn't say it, but I was thinking it.
That was Plow Day 2021.
Yeah, I didn't say it, but I was thinking it. Dropped a couple of beans in the kitty. It's not much, but been sick myself, and yes, absolutely cancer sucks. Appreciate you, buddy.
Every bit, man. Every bit's good.
Everybody helps out.
I like X231, but what do I know? I'm a retired carpenter.
I could see where X231 would be a lot more interesting for the viewer than the guy that's doing the work.
It really, well, in essence, it should be more interesting than what it is because it's one off.
Yeah, well,
It should get more than what it does.
it's like we said before. It's the relatability factor. It's tough to get people excited about something that dad didn't have or granddad didn't have.
But I understand that. But how much of these stupid viral videos that they have no relation to that they watch for fucking 300 million views? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the way the whole platform is set up, and I'd never do this, but it's a fact that if I would have hired a heavy lift helicopter to raise X253 up to max altitude ceiling and drop the thing on the ground, I would have got more clicks off of that one episode than doing an entire rebuild on it, because that's just the way it's set up.
You've been this close.
I know.
Do not lie to me. You've been that
The
close.
thought has crossed my mind. Some days more than others. No, we're doing pretty good with it though. I did the episode of all the suits standing around the crawler. That's been, I think I put that on the members page 2 days ago. I've been holding off on throwing that out until after we got past the live here, but that's probably going to hit tomorrow morning. And I just put episode 60 of X231 in the pipe before I came here, so we got a lot of content on the way.
Kyle says he likes X231 and the work that goes into it. The problem I have with it is that it won't plow, it won't work, and it's a trailer queen.
True on all accounts. It's only ever going to drive and have to move itself from here on out.
Joe Montz wants to know if the Rock Crusher is going to get some love this summer.
I don't know about this summer, but that's another one that I think would do really, really well between the Rock Crusher and the Torque Monster RD6. I think those are the two that really should be doing.
I told Toby, and I was the one that hauled the damn thing. I don't care about the Rock Crusher.
He's just excited to see all the pain.
I want to see the pain and the infrastructure that has to go into supporting that
It's
thing
gonna be a lot.
because you can't feed it.
No, and like I said before, I'm not trying to feed it. We're not doing conveyors. I'm just gonna throw about a dozen rocks into it after.
Yeah, but
it's fixed, and
this is YouTube. You have to get your career is giving the viewers what they want to see.
But Nathan, okay,
So I'm planting the seed and telling the viewers what they want to see.
Ironman 3406 already floated the idea of having a gravel day. We can have a gravel day. I don't need a conveyor.
So you're going to get 300 people to throw rocks at the crusher? Is that what you're saying?
As long as it isn't me.
Evan's back.
I dig X231. With that being said, Helen Keller can see that she loves kicking Toby's ass when the opportunity presents itself.
Actually, her name is Christine, after the possessed evil car that tried to. Christine just fits it.
Pete says donated it, but I did under my real name. Have fun trying to match that one up.
Appreciate you, Pete.
Thank you, buddy. Either way.
Are you going to do a series on a road grader?
Eventually, yeah. We got those.
Where we
used to
at now?
be 3 number 9s to be turned into 1.
12,505.
Get it.
That's awesome.
Shoot for 15. We're only 30 minutes in. We get shoot for 15 tonight.
Well, like
I
I
got
said,
some.
I decided the channel was going to match everything that came from the donors on my site. Last I checked, before this even started, we were north of $800 just from the Squatch 253 gang. So
No need for a conveyor. Just pick some of your followers, Toby. That's one way to get them to unsubscribe. Have them throw rocks into your crusher.
hey, that's already. It's like Rick said though. You're separating the wheat from the chaff at that point. You're going to know who's really down for the channel.
I like
So-
seeing X231. I like the in-depth and detail-heavy videos.
And that's the perfect platform for it, because everything's in depth and everything's details, because that thing left the factory not entirely squared away to begin with, and then it withstood 5,000 plus hours of the worst operating conditions that you could think of, and they definitely never thought that tractor was ever going to see that.
Luke says, Toby, didn't Christine rebuild itself? Have you tried standing in front of the tractor and saying, show me?
No, Christine did rebuild herself, but that X231 does not want to be put back together. Like someone in the comment section said, X253, the crawler, was not in bad shape. It's like for as bad as that one wanted to run again, X231 just doesn't.
You could risk flying with X231 or X253 if you break shit. I can't. How much time and money it would take to make new parts for it.
That's the problem. They both have kind of weak back ends. And yeah, I'd love to put like a 3 or 4 bottom 3-point plow behind the crawler. It would even look really good. But
Levi C says, Paul Schmidt is Pete Brooks.
anyway, Swatch 253 channel is going to match everything that came in over from my side up to $1,000. So you can add another 1,000 to the tally. Appreciate it, folks.
Awesome.
Doubling it up, making it count.
Typical banker. She's counting it too.
I'm not.
Wow.
I'm not your dad.
No way you could get some small loaders feeding the hopper, a dump wagon under the belt, the finished product toward by whatever, hauling it to your road and spreading, then a grader there to even spread.
Trouble is that crusher only goes down to about 2.5 inch, so it's some pretty coarse rock for a road. It'd be excellent for like fill.
Squatch, thoughts on an IH crawler? Since you are a Catman and IH Ag Equipment, operate a smaller T340 IH and had a blast. Not sure the size comparison to the D2.
I would say a 340 is a little bit smaller than a D2, but not by much. And the IH crawlers are a lot easier to work on because they didn't have all the press fits and you didn't need all the hydraulic pullers like you did for the Cats. The downside is the IHs didn't last as long because you started out with more movement on everything. The Cats pretty much stayed tight. But
Did you have to rebuild the engine in X253?
no, and actually I probably should have, because that's back when I was doing that 01 to 06 and didn't have much at all, and it ran great, started great. I resealed it, made sure the crankcase was clean, and now she rolls a little bit of blue smoke after she gets warmed up, so it's probably in need of some rings for sure.
Is X231 the hardest rebuild you've ever done?
Yes, and it probably will be the hardest I ever do.
Completely off topic, but any suggestions of what to use on the shed walls around the wood stove? I've heard cement board like under tile.
You can, but my suggestion would just be to use ceramic. Do whatever you're going to put for your wall covering, sheetrock, whatever, and then use ceramic fence insulators. Give yourself that air gap, and put corrugated steel on it.
Just build some tighter jaws for smaller crush. Come one easy.
I don't know how easy it would be to build jaws. I've had a look at those, and it's pretty specific the way those get put together. The jaws and the cheek plates make up that whole inner chamber, and they're all huge.
Mr. Stubb says Paul Schmidt. Nope, that's Mr. Stubb, the guy with Cub Fever. He's my people.
John wants to know where the link is. Up at the top of the chat. It says it's right up there, highlighted in blue. Grab that one. If somebody wants to run a link, you can grab one for the donation link. But that'd be great.
It should be pinned at the top under the This Old Farm.
Many people have it, but otherwise it's up at the top.
It's the www.forgiving.com.
TD6 would be a great engine donor for my wheel tractor.
TD6 is the same as the MD, correct?
And WD6. Have Squatch or Rick considered starting a Discord? They can be great for community engagement and sometimes growth.
Starting with what?
A Discord, it's a online chat room.
Yeah, I'm pretty computer illiterate.
I
If
knew
you're
this-
talking Morse code, I could probably be down.
98. We worked together for 18 years. 98% of the time, we like each other at a distance.
Good fences make for good neighbors.
Yeah, that's right.
I couldn't put up a fence in the shop.
We tried.
Logan says it's like the car Christine, but instead it takes itself back apart.
Honestly, that's pretty darn close, really. Some days I walk out there and it's like I thought I fixed this already. Shannon Sykes stirring the pot tonight.
Yeah, we're not going to read that comment.
I'll read it. You could always put the
Yeah.
farm manager to work being a rock crusher. I'll be the farm manager now.
Okay.
You can call me anything. I don't care.
Does that say galvium? Galvanium? Is what I use for heat shield between stove and wall.
Anything.
Begin living like a boss. Appreciate you, buddy.
I can call you anything?
You can call me anything. You have called me everything. Literally.
Squatch. You were genuinely the nicest person.
And now he's called me everything. You're going to move your brain.
No.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Want to try again?
No. It kind of creeped me out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
The eye contact got you, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cody V wants to know if Toby's going to redo that
there's some
F20.
things you can't unsee. That's an F12, if you're talking about the one behind the old shop back there. I don't know. That's, I've never heard that one run in my life.
Senior electrician says, "Did you get the repair done on the A?" Yeah. It's been
That was
done for
like
a while.
a long time ago.
Boy, you got to come back around. You were here for a while, and I didn't hear shit all from you. So
Toby, are you going to Pioneer Power swap meet?
Yes, we have 2 spots there again. We're doing it again this year.
look at you.
Paid for them last year, so they are pre-reserved.
Mr. Stubbs says, "Oh, you guys get a room."
No, that's why I put Connor over it.
Don't you have a 53 Chevy on the property?
Yes, 53 shop, ton and a half. That's a stove bolt, straight 6 in it.
Walter Matson says, "You guys are gone." Nope. We're still here, bud.
Cody says,
The Feroz.
I have a ton of F12 parts I will give you.
Might need them. The engine used to be stuck on that, and I'm talking like 20 plus years ago. Senior and I got it to free up, but we never did take the head back off it, and it's pretty much sat there ever since. So I wouldn't be too surprised if it had stuck.
Yeah, $100 for it.
Hayden Stevens just donated.
Hayden, I appreciate you, buddy.
Hayden,
Thanks
thanks,
for your
bud.
donation.
What time of day or night is it there? It's got to be, what, 3 in the morning?
8 hour, yes, 3 or 4.
Appreciate you, bud.
2.
Hayden, you're around again. We'll pick another old cat to drive. He took the RD6 for a spin last time. We got the Swamp Angel up and running now.
Looks like John donated. He said, "Got it done. Thanks for the link. Good luck, brother."
Appreciate you.
Thanks for your
John.
donation. Hey, Connor, Rick Toby in Montana donated $100 earlier. Thank you, Gene.
Thanks, bud.
Gene, I appreciate that.
Any chances we'll see the 53 on your channel?
Well, I almost forgot. It's
Hold on a second. Hayden Stevens says, I found out this week that my sister has been diagnosed with cancer. Sorry
Oh.
to hear that.
Man,
sucks, man.
it's terrible, man.
I don't know. For me, with that 53 Chev, I'm still pretty burned on automobiles of any kind from too many years working on them. It's going to sit there, but of course I'm coming around. Like I was telling Rick just
I
the
know,
other
guy.
day. I'm coming around. I told Rick just the other day. It took me over a year out of the Ford dealer, but I can finally watch that Just Rolled In channel and see all those mechanical nightmares and not just be down because I'm probably gonna have to look at it all tomorrow.
Mostly, he started watching that shit again because I started ripping on channels before. Because I used to do that to people that we work with every day.
Mm-hmm. Testify.
Your videos is all I look forward to since TV isn't worth it.
He's not talking to me.
I agree with you on that. And I'm not kidding you. The most TV I watch is going to be like an hour-long rerun of Combat, which is going to air probably while I'm still here. So I'm probably not going to watch any TV this week.
Toby says Tom says, Toby, you should do a walk-around tour of all the old tractors and trucks on your place.
That would be a heck of a tour, though. And there's some of those that they're getting pretty far back in the weeds, to tell you the truth.
Rick gets rolled in daily. Yeah, it's pretty much been, well, anybody that just drove here tonight knows what it looks like when you drive in here. It looks more like a salvage yard than a
I
repair.
chose the wrong way around the cul-de-sac tonight. And then I tried to get around the truck that was at the top of the cul-de-sac.
That was hers.
That's fine.
And then there was something under that drift, and I stopped as soon as I felt it. Okay, so come spring, I'll pay for it. It's not make it good.
Kent says, Luke, got a 400 diesel I'd make you a killer deal on.
Perfect.
Luke says he's interested. I would imagine with the rust issues up there, you get a just rolled in quite often, Rick.
Oh, it's amazing how many would come in with like rotted off suspension pieces, just like you see on there.
Yeah, I mean,
We had a few that you couldn't lift on the 2-post hoist. If you couldn't put them on a drive-on and keep the weight on all 4 wheels, they would have just buckled.
fortunately, that's been my advantage in having this lift because it supports everything but the wheels, so you can still work on the wheels. But yeah, it's
And we've had a few, when you'd lift them up, you couldn't get the doors open until you set them back down on the ground because they just flex that much.
You guys should do this more often. You four are really good entertainment. Toby, I sure enjoy X231. I know it's going to be a trailer queen, but would be another part of history saved back to its glory.
Well, I'll tell you what, I make plans about videos that I want to make like years before I actually get to the point where I want to make them. But I'd really like to, once I get X231 really right and going,
2035.
I'd like to put it in road gear and get it all the way out east of Carrick and just do a trip out to where it used to live.
I got a plow ground out there.
Well, really, but a trip out and back with the tractor, make a little video of it. You can see like where the barn used to be. Kind of most of the fields are all grown up, but I think that would be a neat, like kind of inaugural run after the bugs are out of it. She's got paint.
You know what the ironic part is?
What?
You know where you go all the way out to the corner?
Bird's Corner. That's
Bird's
our
Corner?
corner. Yep.
The inside corner of that, I have access to all that ground to plow it.
Really. Because
That's where it came from, isn't it?
No, actually, almost halfway back toward Carrick from there.
Oh, that old homestead.
Yep.
You're going to have to go a little bit further.
X231 inspired me to start a rebuild/restoration series on a Cub Cadet 70.
Perfect.
Squatch, what would it take to get you and your crawler to Brookville, Indiana? You're famous in our tractor club.
Appreciate you, buddy.
An active God.
Yeah.
I've seen this guy.
Honest.
He doesn't go anywhere.
Honestly, pretty much, if I'm gonna haul a machine anywhere, I stay within Minnesota State because I took the crawler down to Root River in 06, and that's just about on the Minnesota-Iowa border. And I swore after I finally got back from that trip, I was never gonna haul a tractor that far again, especially not one.
Well, that was when you were home with Old Blue, though.
But if I had like a super nice enclosed trailer where you weren't worried about rock chips and all this other stuff, because things like that don't trailer well.
You know, you're self-employed, right?
I know that.
Investments.
And at the same time, you start taking a truck and trailer out of state. Now you're thinking about worrying about DOT stops and everything else. I know I'm set for Minnesota,
Sure.
and that's pretty much where I stick.
Everybody thinks that would be a great video idea for X231.
It'd be kind of fun. It'd be probably about 10-ish mile trip out and back.
Mike Engel says X231 has been my favorite restoration video series ever.
Appreciate you, but it hasn't been mine. I'm not gonna lie to you, but
Logan says, I'd like to restore my grandpa's Super A, but I don't have enough time for that between school and working on the farm.
and what you got to do is you start small. You know, I was doing the same thing.
Steve Berman says, hi guys, a Ford question.
Let it rip, Gator Chip.
You don't have to get something completely ripped down and restored in 6 months and a year. It can take you 5 years. It can take you 10.
Cody V says the club may be willing to pay.
The hardest part is getting started. Once you get started, you know, my focus has kind of always been just, even if you don't have a lot of time, just try and do something every day so that you end the day further along than where you started it. Eventually, it comes together.
He also says we pay for steam tractors to come. I've got an original Club Cadet that's going to be a project to do something for my son and I to work on and save and have another running one to work off of. Things like that don't trailer well as I drag mine 6 hours each way for plow day.
Luke Strasser.
Kyle can't haul a
That's facts.
Tonka truck without getting
He
stopped
stopped
by
at DOT. First plow day he ever was at with the K. South Dakota DOT jumped him
He got
as soon
stopped last year too.
as he crossed the state line. They were on him.
It's not even our state; it's his own state. That's
He was
crucifying
legal
him.
though. He was legal. He was just barely underweight. He was legal.
Jack says, LOL, you'd have to make that video 8 times. I know how rebuilding old tractors go.
Cody said, just let Kyle go in front of you on the way to Indiana.
Yeah, he'll clear him out. He will clear. That's going to be the best Smoky and Bandit Redux ever.
Dude, so like I almost got turned around only a cab.
Once
Nathan just about didn't make it out of Canada. with
You
that
just
thing.
gotta buy one in the States. You can keep it here. I'll let you. I don't care.
Once X231 is finished, have you considered temporarily putting her in a tractor museum
No.
if such a thing exists?
No.
And just to be clear, if you're gonna keep one here, it's not like I'm gonna use it because I don't use half of my own shit. I'm not gonna fix it either. So I'm gonna fix all my own shit.
Tractor museum on maybe after I'm gone, but no, I'll keep my stuff on site.
We want to know if we can do this once a month.
Probably not. It took me, what am I on, 14 months away from seeing you every day? It took me 14 months to come in here and do this one. And I ain't doing it for that guy.
I'm blaming.
Kyle hauling anything deserves
You
Johnny Cash, I Walk the Line playing in the background.
Here's the thing: if we keep it exclusive, this is the reason we're going to do this right now. You're going to do it once a month. There's no incentive to do it. The fact that we can get together and all do this and raise some money for a guy and help out his family is
That's
the reason
great.
we're doing it. Otherwise, it wouldn't matter because there's no incentive then. So
Property with the 5T by a sheriff.
And remember when you were going back home with the 5T, he started losing trailer brakes around St. Cloud.
yep,
I think he lost them completely before he was even out of state.
just throwing transmission codes and all kinds of shit.
And he ended up cutting all of his brake wires. He made it 3 hours back home, fully loaded gooseneck with no brakes back there.
Levi's got the donation link again.
Appreciate you, Levi.
Are any of you going to the I-8 show in Nebraska this summer?
I was honestly just talking about this with Senior.
You going?
I might see about going.
It sounds like it's going to be a really good show.
I'm not fucking going. I'm telling you right now.
Especially considering it's the 100th of Farmall.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put it out there right now. I have no tractor show slated for me to go to personally at all because I got shit to do.
See, for me, tractor shows and swap meet is pretty much the only traveling I ever do, ever.
I travel from the house to here to work.
And that's pretty much what I do. I stay up on the hill in the woods every day and just love life.
Cody V says, I am in the middle of redoing a McCormick 1020. Seeing you redo the crawler pushed me to working on my dream tractor.
I started out with a 1020. I've still got a bunch of engine parts, and I think they're pretty good. The rest of it ended up going to the scrapper because she was pretty rough, but the engine honestly was not bad, so I kept it. So if you need anything, hit me up.
Minnesota Mike says, "Hey Toby, hey Rick, and Connor. Not sure the little lady's name, but hey,
That's Montana. That's Rick's daughter. Minnesota Mike, I know him. Talked to him at Jordan last year.
I brought my EcoBoost to Ford guy Brian at BSG Garage. He replaced my timing chains, cam phasers, oil, and water pump with upgrades. Is this considered wise preventative maintenance?"
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes, with an asterisk. It depends on when you had it done.
I want to know which generation EcoBoost it is, though. Is it a Gen 1, Gen 2, or Gen 3?
Sean's
Because it may or may not have needed other things.
is it Sean Stemple or Stample? I can't really see, but it says, "Toby, I'm a little late to the party here, but I just sent $25 your way for the fundraiser."
Perfect.
Thank you
Appreciate
very much.
you, buddy.
I appreciate you, buddy.
Toby, are you going to the Nowthen show this year?
Yes. And I'll
Uh,
probably have the Swamp Angel there with me too.
I'm loving seeing the Garden Tractor guys comment from Sears to Case to Power King and more. They need to come to shows too. History needs to stay alive.
I'll tell you one. I'll say one thing about the Garden Tractor guys. We always go to that John Deere 2-cylinder meet the weekend after Le Sueur, last weekend in April every year. And they used to have a Garden Tractor club that would show up there, and those guys had like little one bottom plows behind those things, and they would plow all day. They didn't stop. And you had the guys with full size tractors pulling 4 bottoms out there. They'd do about 2 passes and be done for the day. Those guys on the Garden Tractors, I'm not kidding you, they had turned 3 acres by the end of the day.
I'm losing comments. I want to read. So Kyle says that the last trip home was a disaster. He also says, "Where's Nebraska?" That show is worth
American
going.
Nebraska.
That show is worth going to. We had it here in Pennsylvania in 2019, and it was an excellent show. I think he's talking about the international one. Luke wants to know Ford stories? Question mark.
We tell Ford stories.
Rick, it will not be just tractors. Ooh.
Push rod tubes. How do I get a hold of you? I can't find any.
Thinking of bringing our international huge track payloader to the local Nebraska show. You already read that one.
They got the 4-in-1 bucket on it, or is it just a regular bucket? Some of those have the 4-in-1.
2014 EcoBoost, so it's a Gen 2.
Yeah.
Logan says, "We'll finally solve the story of my dad's missing AC crawler. Walked around the shed to find the snowblower, and it's sitting there halfway buried in a snow pile." How's she hanging, folks? More Ford garage stories, Dave says. My cousin lives close to Nowthen. I'm gonna go this year, Gene says.
Nowthen's a good like day stop show. It's not too big, not too small.
Gen 2 EcoBoost.
I plan on showing my Farmall M and Oliver 770 around the Midwest. I live in Wisconsin, so I hope to see you all at some shows. Can you give Joe work channels? We are so thankful for all the people who are doing. For Rick and Toby for doing this live. That's Mary Von Ruden.
Yeah. That's Joe's wife.
Oh, okay.
Shout out.
Joe
Mr.
texted me
Workman.
this morning. Joe, I appreciate you, buddy. If you're doing a Gen 2 EcoBoost, that was good preventive maintenance, but you should probably do the coolant tubes to the turbochargers
Because they'll leak.
and then make sure your driver's side exhaust manifold isn't leaking at the back of it.
Yeah,
because
they will always break that back stud. when you get an
it'll
exhaust.
roach that turbo if it starts leaking too bad.
The Half Century of Progress show, Rantoul, Illinois, is a pretty awesome show to see. How long until Rick Connor falls out of that chair? We'll
I don't know, but he's working on it. I haven't even been helping him. I could start helping him.
Oh,
At least
slow
it's
down
not
a
set
little
up an exercise ball.
bit. Yeah, I could. You
got
should
one?
break that out. Yeah,
Wait, I
it's-
forgot
it's
what I was
back
talking
there.
about. Exercise ball.
The Half Century of Progress show, Rantoul, Illinois, is pretty. Oh, I already read that one. My
Yep.
bad. Us Garden Tractor guys are crazy. It's gone. Randy stories.
You
Cody
can reel
says.
it back.
I'm not reeling it
Okay.
back. We've got a Sears Suburban garden tractor that we plow the garden with. Takes a while, but it's fun. Antique tractor fanatic. I'm from Penfield, Illinois. Anyone planning to go to Half Century of Progress show in Illinois? Nathan wants to know.
I've heard a lot about that show, though.
What is the feature at Albany this year?
I think it's cockshut and related tractors.
I'd love to make it to one of the plow days, but a haul coming from somewhere in Wisconsin. Have to go, did the donation, Owen says, thank you.
Appreciate you on.
Brett Erickson says, gotta say, Rick, you named that girl right. Montana is a great state. Never would have came back to Minnesota, but life works that way sometimes.
Jeff Wine said says good evening. Holy smokes, now that is a crew.
Jeff, I appreciate you, buddy.
Kyle says, so Grand Island, eh? Question mark. Hayden says he's out. Good to see you all. Best wishes to Jamie and his family.
Thanks for stopping in, Hayden.
Hayden, I appreciate you, buddy.
Nancy says he lived in Rantoul for a winter. That was a cold bitch.
You know, really, we've had snow this year, but it has not really been that cold.
We didn't get stuck in the really bad stretches of cold weather.
The snow that we've had has just been heavy this year, though. It's just been horrible.
Relentless. I mean,
Senior electrician says, Kyle, I think it's in Keystone. Going to Rantoul for the third time. I agree. Squatch needs an IH crawler, TD6 or TD9. What's the story on the UD18? Could we see a video on it sometime?
I keep telling Senior we need to do a will it start on that because it really needs to be ran again anyway. Of course, other projects just keep getting in the way. We kind of had it slated for this summer to try and do something, but then that first December storm came through and put about 25% of the trees on our property halfway down to the ground. So I think that kind of filled our summer up.
a couple times I drove past there recently. Holy crap, you guys got a lot of fireworks cut.
There's,
Oh my God.
we're going to be ripping so many trees down this spring. Ford stories. Speaking of trees coming down, you remember that? The drive to work?
Mm-hmm.
We got attacked by that pine.
Trust me, can't forget it.
That was,
But I still can't remember it either. So
of course, the comments are coming pretty fast here. Yeah, when they slow down, we might have some time to tell some stories. Otherwise, Connor's never going to keep up.
I can't keep up to begin with.
How many people are in here anyway?
115.
I think that's in the record for your channel, eh?
We're pushing.
Logan says also found an online copy of an international catalog from 1949 so you can find out what model the attachments are for it.
Kyle Chris says D2 engine breakdown filler. Honestly, that was on my list last fall. He brought me a spare D3400 that he picked up thinking it was D4400, and then I kind of clued him in and let him sweat on it for a while, and then he finally figured it out, and he's like, what?
Tim says, don't jinx it, guys. Shut up about the cold.
I actually shoveled it off before you guys came here.
Half Century is doing 100 years of farmhouse and some kind of cat feature.
Endergard Acres says it was up to 141 for a bit.
If you guys make it to Half Century Progress Show, I will go on Caterpillar Factory Tour and Cat Visitor Center in Peona. I think
Peoria.
Peoria.
Luke Strasher says, Squatch, will it start video on the McCormick Deering gas power unit? You've never heard that one run correct? No, I have not. And exhaust intake manifold is currently in 3 pieces, barely hanging off the side of the engine. So that one's probably pretty definite will not run.
Jeff wants to know, have the Ford stories been flying around tonight? No, we've been just trying to
No,
keep up
because
with comments.
we're just keeping up with comments. They're coming hard and fast.
Somebody, I can't read their name, says, I got a bail, wind is blowing, so that means I got to get up early to deal with the snow. Good luck on the fundraiser. Cancer has hit way too close to home for me.
Is that Jeremy?
That's Jeremy. We Deers.
Jeremy, I
Appreciate you, bud. Stay safe.
When will we see Squatch Channel live chat?
Probably never.
Cat story, I used to live in Peoria when Cat decided to expand and built a tunnel under Interstate 74. Fail! Nathan says that's a hell of an offer, Martin. Good evening, all. Do you have a favorite tool? And if so, what is it?
Jesus, where the heck did Rick go?
Where's the serpentine belt tool? Because that is a Ford story.
Oh my God.
I just about brought mine with. Oh, I should have.
All my life, I've been
Oh.
wondering what model the implements are for my
Turns out
grandpa's
they have
Super A. He had a baler and a small combine with
Back scratcher?
Oh,
I can't read something engines to pull behind the Super 8, but those got traded away.
the serpentine belt tool. All right. You see, it's a rod with a fork on the end. And the thinking here was if you need to loop a serpentine belt down around a pulley and you can't really reach, you just get it in the end of that fork and right in place. But I think we ended up using these for everything but.
Well,
Because-
you and I did.
Well, we worked with the guy that bought one of these, and then he's like, I don't really understand it. You know, and I'm pretty
He
sure.
couldn't figure out how it worked for his. For the
Seriously,
life
this is for being something that was supposed to do serpentine belts. Any place where you couldn't reach, well, like with your arm, this was perfect. It got used every day, several times a day, and not just to make Connor nervous. Okay, I mean, like 543 belts when you had to do that oil pressure check when it came in rattling and knocking, and then you got to pull the cinder out, which is way up above the front axle. You can get the connector off, but getting it back on, you're never going to reach it. So you can just kind of zip tie it or tape it to the end of that, even mechanics wire, stick it up in there, click, and then pop it back off, and it just stuff like that. You know,
That was before they finally realized that all of them have low blood pressure.
yeah. Back when they first started coming and rattling, we'd actually do oil pressure tests on them. That lasted for about 5 trucks, and then pretty soon, if it comes in making that noise, you just know it's on oil.
Cody says looks like a good ass scratcher too.
Oh, it works for a lot of things.
Squatch, what do you think
I
of
don't wash my
garden
hands.
tractors?
Seriously?
I got better tools for that.
Okay.
Uh,
What was that last one, Connor? I wasn't paying attention.
what do you think of garden tractors?
I don't have any, but I don't have anything against them.
Here, touch that one.
No, we're good. We're good.
When is the
Come
IH?
back,
Yeah,
Rick.
let's. I like that idea.
Brake cleaner.
When is the IH show in Nebraska? And are you serious about going, Toby?
It's in. Is it in June? I just looked at it in the show guide last night. It's early.
Lord.
It's early. I think it's in
When did
June.
the tractor show that already?
26th-ish, I want to say, around in there.
Is that which one is that? That's the Red Power Roundup. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Steve says, you guys are great. Appreciate you.
It is June 15th through the 17th.
All right,
in
Montana, where we at?
Grand, in Grand Island, Nebraska.
12665.
Oh, come on. We need to get to,
Including the cash, it is 13665.
we gotta get to 15. Come on now.
Your belt.
We need to
tool,
make $1,400. Let's do it.
your belt tool looks like a back scratcher.
I'll drink.
One
I'll
ass
drink
scratcher.
for
I've
hundreds.
got used for that quite often.
We're an hour in. I'll drink for hundreds.
He'll do it too.
But unfortunately, our
We got a lot
security
of
is
fucking
too
beer.
small for any serious farm work nowadays. It's been degraded to working in the garden. Well, evidently you didn't watch the plow day video with Rick.
Yeah, I can turn some ground with a Super A. You ain't seen shit.
Alex says
I'll
I'm
beat
now
the
Toby
pants
is
off
close to
D4.
Rick again.
Crazy Dave, 44-45. He had an excellent video from that day. He thought you were doing hot laps where you would plow up the hill and then one-handed because the other one was mostly occupied. I think you were just neutral and just gravity was letting.
Yeah, I pushed the clutch and just let her eat.
And Dave was like, Rick would sooner crash than let go of that beer. I was just about crying. Oh man.
And the bad part is the Super A, the right brake works, the left brake doesn't. I need a left turn. If I could have fucking stabbed the left brake and whipped that thing nasty going left, I could have at least doubled my time. At least.
Nathan says y'all keep an eye out for a decent IH or cat crawler for me in the area.
Rick, we keep hearing you tell this story of telling you with the block heater, and we need to hear it.
We can tell that story. It don't bother me. I could even tell the version that Rick has never heard. I'll let Rick tell it, and then I can tell the real truth.
Okay.
Kyle says depending on the way you come down, you're probably going right by.
Just so happens. I just didn't know if you needed it as a prop.
Isn't it past
You
Rick's
got a burr on there?
I got the same kind of bird that you use.
It needs to be on a.
It's the acorn bird.
It needs to be on a die grinder to be truly authentic. But that's
They don't have those anymore.
actually the one that I put the hole clear through the cross plug and through the block and through the piston wasn't even that big of a burr. It's about half that size.
No, it was the same one.
You sure?
Guaranteed.
Isn't it past Rick's bedtime with spring ahead tonight? There is no such thing as a bedtime for Rick.
Yeah. Try me. Oh, you have no idea how late I'll work at night.
Justin says he'll go grab the credit card in a minute.
Shannon Sykes, it sounds more super than Toby Swarmall. That's senior Swarmall. And the comment section got a little mad at that guy for even saying that. I left it in because I thought
it was not funny at all for the comment section.
I thought it was fun.
Rick is the only Super A that turns 4,000 RPMs.
No, that's the Super C.
Yeah,
He has not forked the governor on the Super A yet.
I will tell you for a fact that Super C will do 21 miles an hour.
He's got the GPS. He's got the GPS to prove it.
I remember that video from Crazy Dave. Rick went flying past and then Toby took off slowly behind him on the Supra.
Yeah,
It was
you
like
just-
Toby is keeping his distance from Rick.
You just get out of the way.
Cody says Toby has a bedtime. ...
Yeah, it's going to be a late one for this guy.
Hey Squatch, any tip to someone who is getting their first D2?
There's a playlist.
Don't you?
I've got about 215 videos that are loaded with tips, but name of the game is make sure it can keep the tracks on, make sure that none of the clutches are stuck.
That was a great comment. I'm so glad you left that in, Toby.
Yeah, you need to take the super off that. What did you say? You need to take the super off that because it ain't that super?
Yep.
This is my current favorite tool. Nathan sent a link. I'm gonna pull it up and see what
What
it
is
is.
that?
Probably a snowblower.
It's made by Mac Tools. I'm interested because chances are I probably got it. If I don't have it, I'm not sure why I don't. No, I don't need to fuck around with that. I don't think personally, I don't think they work that all that
Pretty
well.
mad camera.
I don't know. What
You put a socket on the end of it, run your air hammer on it. I get it, but I don't. Buy an induction heater and you'll be better off.
Squatch, you need to do a will it start video on that F12 you have.
That F12 is
No.
it will not start. I'll guarantee it right now.
The answer is no, it won't start.
It won't start.
Justin says $100 if Toby drinks 4 Budweiser.
No. $500 will buy you one though. Ask Rick. I told him going into it.
Five, if we get, where were we at?
Still 12,665.
So we get to 13-2 and he'll drink a Budweiser right here on the camera. Let's do it. Come on, guys.
Toby learned 20 years
We're rocking for 15. Let's get it. Everybody, what do we got? 100 and something in here yet?
If Rick wants to play games,
Everybody has $5 right now. You're fucking there. Come on.
if Rick wants to play games, I can dig the V8 WC out and we can see who is faster. Cody says,
Challenge
do it,
accepted. Shit.
You gotta be careful what you say, Kyle. You should know this by now.
Kyle.
I thought we had this conversation earlier today, but fuck it, let's go.
Toby, how about the old days of ACMOC? I remember you running the H on that site.
Yeah, even the older days of the old Acme site, Anti-Cover Machinery Enthusiast, those were the real days.
Who's the lady on the right?
My daughter.
Frequently
Montana.
asked question. We're gonna have to give you a name tag.
Yeah, she's all quiet and stuff.
Nathan says it worked
That's the
like
scary part.
it worked like a damn to take out the stupid torque screw holding brake rotors on my father-in-law's taxi. Put a flat wrench on it while you hit it, and it backed right out easy.
One thing that worked great for me with those torque screws, if it's like the taper head style that holds the caliper on or the rotor on, put
Carbide
the
burr?
no,
Oh, never mind.
that works for engine blocks. Put the smaller torch tip on and just heat that screw until it just starts to flow a little bit and then let it cool. Just that expansion and contraction, you can pretty much just take just a socket to it and they'll come right out.
Minnesota Mike says Squatch253 is my new favorite channel, and Josh Lee says I'm a big fan, Squatch.
Appreciate you guys.
I am looking at a D2 or this Cat 2-ton that needs a lot of work.
Okay, let me just say, Mike, what the fuck?
Okay. The D, honestly.
It's fast now or don't tell me hey.
Okay.
Mike, what the fuck?
Okay. It's past
You've been here a long time, you got a wrench, and you're about to lose it.
Statute of limitations.
Oh, I
has
missed a
expired.
comment. Hold on a second.
Dalton, I
Dalton's-
appreciate you, buddy.
All right. So before the blowout,
I'll
D2 is going to be a lot easier to find parts for than the 2-ton.
All three of you guys have some of the best content on YouTube. Keep up the good work. Tom Halver says.
Appreciate you.
I didn't know you had a YouTube channel. Connor's got one. I've got one. He had to been talking about Montana.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who else you would be thinking of.
Send me a link.
Anyways.
Looks like I did well not to inherit your mouth. Looks like I did really good at covering it up.
Joe, I appreciate you, buddy.
Wait, I'm missing comments. Slow down. You guys ever seen that guy with all the Sears tractors pulled behind a F650? I believe he's from Wisconsin. He goes everywhere with that rig.
No, it's
No.
not sounding familiar.
Cancer, you say I have had 2 different kinds and have served them both early discovery and super good surgery, but I also know not all can be cut out, but there is always hope in Jesus. Come on, chat. We've got an M Pharma with a 383 big block Chrysler in it.
I appreciate you.
Fastest I've got it to is 50 miles per hour before I shut it down for fear of dry rotted rear tires.
Oh,
falling apart.
yeah, if you would have blew one of them.
Quick question: what's the use for free tip on the donation?
Let's see. I
Free tip.
don't know.
My wife is a five. Hey, no.
I'm not sure what the free tip you're talking about is.
My wife is a 5+ year breast cancer survivor. Fuck cancer. Toby, that would have been around 2002. Toby, what's your unicorn tractor you've always wanted?
That's kind of.
Slide bar D8 8R series or a 1H.
Gene says, Toby, I found you through just a few acres, and then Rick and Connor through you. Enjoy all of your channels.
Appreciate you, bud.
Whoa. I lost again. How many has Rick had to drink?
Good question.
Way too many.
It ain't been all of them yet.
I ain't drank them all, so it doesn't matter.
Luke timed somebody out for disrespect.
There is not a problem until I. Wait, what?
I don't know, but Luke timed somebody out for disrespect. I don't know who, but okay. Just to make Rick mad,
Yeah.
I will drive for WV with my garden tractor and pull the as well with y'all, I'm guessing. I don't know.
Come on up. Let's get her done.
50 miles per hour on an M. I wouldn't trust one with good tires at 40.
Let alone the steering. It'd be getting a little tight.
Hey, I'll tell you right now, 21 on a Super C is sketchy as shit.
I didn't know Squatch had legs. Only see his face and hands.
This is here's a funny bit that you learn about people, and this never occurred to me. So, Rick's done spoofs of my channel before where he'll put the camera on a selfie stick and 12 feet up in the air. I prefer to keep camera at least above nose level because nobody wants to look
He
at the
doesn't
nose.
trim his fucking nose hairs.
So
Cody V
That's
says,
true.
I've got to go, but thanks for the great videos and keep it up.
thanks, Cody. Appreciate you, buddy.
Toby, I think you need to do more of its
But
the unique tractors.
anyhow, the thing you learn about people, everybody that runs into me is like, you don't look that tall on camera because they have the perspective of looking slightly down at me. So it's just inferred that I must be rather short.
Bud is out. Thanks for stopping, Bud.
Needless to say, I'm standing in front of a 7-foot garage door and my head is almost level with the top, but it's a perspective thing.
Cody says the donation thing, it pays the fees for the organizer of the fundraiser.
Oh,
Just to be clear, I always look down on you.
I know you.
Squatch has legs, you say. He looks too tall to be comfortable on that shop throne.
I have to sit on everything like this. A D2Z Morse.
Zach wants to know, what's the most useless tool you have ever had the misfortune of having you use?
I bought a
I was just checking to see if you were looking at the screen or the comments.
I bought a Snap-on custom 10mm 3/8 drive extended length socket that necks down before the hex portion for up pipes on the back of 6.4 diesel turbos, and you'll never reach it without this tool, and that's correct. What I didn't realize at the time is I spent $38 on a socket that I would never use because doing any work back there requires lifting the cab, and by that point you don't need a special socket. It's never been used to this day on anything.
Toby, I've been pushing your channel on the Minneapolis Lean groups to keep the
It throws the text too
X231
because
views up.
everybody's laughing their asses off. So
Start over, Con.
Toby, I've been pushing your channel on the Minneapolis Moline groups to keep the X231 views up.
Appreciate you, bud. Yeah, that Moline stuff is kind of hard to.
Matthew wants to know where we're at now.
12/7/65.
It's going to take 13 too. Squatch, you gonna drink a beer? Let's do it.
Senior electrician says, take care and good luck on fundraising. Squatch, I will get you some cash when I see you next time. I can't read his comment. I am a sucker for a cancer fund.
Appreciate you, bud.
You guys in Montana are supporting a good cause tonight. Donation sent. Must be got to go. Good night to all. Don't forget to set your clocks ahead 1 hour. That's from Jeff Weinstock.
See, Jeff, honestly, this was, I think Montana's idea really, because she approached you, Rick approached me, and like, yeah, let's do it.
I know where there's a D7 sitting. They want more than $500 for it.
I'm 300 into getting him to drink a beer.
The
I
fact
need 200 more.
the factory transmission and Mopar.
There's 300.
And I don't know what is. And a Mopar 4-speed get it scooting down the road, and it's still perfectly functional. PTO and hydraulics still work. That's talking about the 50-mile-an-hour M.
Can you imagine how fast that 540 PTO would be spinning at 50 miles an hour?
Lost my grandfather here in September in 2022 to cancer. Me and him were super close people. A lot of times said I was his son. Hate cancer. That's from Old School Repair Shop.
That's
$200
tough, man.
Scotch drinks a beer.
John says, keep up the great work, boys.
Appreciate it.
Troy Duncan says, I lost my brother to cancer in 1998. It sucks.
No.
Nathan's dad there.
Yep, that's Nathan's dad.
So it has 2 transmissions, Logan. Must have extended the frame to make that fit.
I think M&W had a kit where it was like an over and under you could get for H or an M.
Yep.
Or was it? It was like a different.
9-speed.
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
Or it was like a whole different tub,
Yep.
different transmission.
Yeah, but no. He's talking about the Logan one where he has the Mopar, the engine transmission. So there's 2 transmissions.
Oh, I see
of
what
the
you're
tra-
saying. He's feeding the tractor transmission.
Yeah, from the vehicle transmission.
It says 2 damn soon, Dad. Yep.
And if you put it a double reverse of it, it's like a really slow granny gear forward crawl.
Vince and I already drank the Chicolo, but
Dalton says, well, I sold my drag line today. It's Rick.
What size drag line was it?
Justin T says, my mom unfortunately beat cancer last year. So far, still clean. Donated to your friend. Hope he pulls through.
Appreciate you, bud.
Justin, I appreciate you, man.
The old co-ops with Chrysler running gear could hit 40 miles an hour. What was your favorite car to work on in the Ford shop? Is there such a thing?
There's no such thing.
Tessa's in. Even though she's mad at me, she's in.
Kyle gonna have to watch his step now.
Yeah.
Anybody says donate my shipping. All right. Fucking hell, they're not here. $150, oi. Toby's got a drink for $150. That was over anyways. Or $150, let's do it.
Tessa says, thanks for the syrup and all the
All the
decorations.
decorations, Rick. I think that would have been glitter.
You're welcome. Anytime.
What's the most expensive thing each of you broke at the Ford prison?
I broke an engine. The whole engine. The whole engine.
Oh, I told that fucking Explorer. Or
Yeah, that was
Expedition.
an expedition.
With
That
a
was
fucking deer.
That was a high level trim package
Yep.
expedition.
White Pearl.
Yeah.
Expedition.
That
I hit a
was-
fucking deer at 60 miles an hour.
It was
That
like, it
motherfucker.
wasn't the Lariat. The Lariat was the equivalent in the trucks, but that was like a platinum.
Platinum,
Or
yeah.
That
It was-
was an expensive.
White Pearl fucking.
Yeah.
I got all of it.
And the funny part was though, when they called the guy's wife, that she's the one that drove it all the time, and they told her that, yeah, we hate to tell you this, but our mechanic told that she laughed. She literally laughed.
Traded in.
Yep. I think she was tired of it anyway.
Luke says, Tessa, you finally got syrup? Minnesota Mike says, Squatch doing any rock crusher videos this summer with that new old crusher Rick hauled.
I should, but man, I don't know if I'm gonna have time.
The steering on the M going down the road with the V8 can be described as terrifying. And yes, we lengthened the frame just enough to make everything fit. Even cut the hood so it would fit.
I hope it doesn't have that loose vertical post in the bolster, because I know my H needs that tightened up, and like at what 15 mile per hour road gear, the front wheels on that thing just do this when you get on the road. I couldn't imagine 50.
No such thing as a favorite car to fix. I fix things for a living. My favorite is hydronic boilers, super hot water, electricity, unhappy people who have no heat.
That's just the perfect storm right there.
I got no. There's no favorite car to fix.
No.
I mean, really. Honestly, looking back, if I could do fucking 5.4 2-valve head gaskets, when they finally died off, I could kill it.
I think
Because I've done so many of those.
you
bastards.
did one in like, it was like 4.5 hours or something.
Yeah.
We're
I
talking
should
start
just-
to finish, both heads off, full timing, head gaskets, manifolds, everything. The one I could kill it on were those Ford Fusion passenger airbag recalls.
Yeah.
You had to rip the whole dash out, and you got it down to where you could do it with a handful of tools. And if you knew the sequence inside and out, you could save so much time on those.
Tessa says, sure did, covered in Rick's glitter. And Luke says, well, at least you got syrup.
I'm pretty sure that's on your permanent record.
Possession's 9/10. I'm just saying.
It had that front end wobble, but my uncle saw it and fixed it for us. Brent says, I don't hate Fords, I hate engineers.
Yeah, we had that one. Remember those? It's not Windstar. It'd been the Freestar minivans. Those torque converter recalls, automatic transmissions. The pump drive shaft splines in the torque converter would strip out, so they did a recall on. So you brought it in, transmission out, replaced the converter, the stator seal, and the hub seal, and put it all back in. Roy had a buddy from Arizona that had one that had never been in the salt, and you weren't fighting Y pipe, you weren't fighting rusted subframe bolts, no suspension bolts. It was.
Is that native atheist?
Yes.
Yeah, these have got to be your fucking people. I appreciate you, buddy, but damn, that's a.
Does 4.5 hours include searching for the lost socket?
No, but it's going to be a 10 millimeter if you can't find it.
Manuel, I'm not going to.
So I will match super any super chats you give me. I will match in maintenance and repair for their vehicles if they need it. So
I beat
if you guys are going to super chat because I can't. Literally, YouTube's taking 45% and taxes are going to take a third of the other 55. So, but I will match fun for fun. Any super chats that you guys want to give, if you don't want to go over to the website at the top and donate. So, either way, we'll take care of it.
Manuel says, I beat cancer 2021, just donated 100.
He's a beer.
Well, you got beer, bud.
But yeah, I brought that Freestar in, rust free, torque converter replacement recall by 9:30 in the morning. Transmission was out, converter was in, all the seals had been replaced, and that thing was ready to go back the other direction.
What was the worst thing y'all ever had to work on at the Ford
Give me
prison?
a regular one, dude.
That's a regular beer.
That's a regular board.
Luke, I sent Tessa syrup a while ago, and I just gave her another goodie box day before yesterday with the last of the ski soda. Hey, Luke says, hey folks, don't super chat here. Donate directly at the pinned link. And Luke also shared the link again.
Yeah, too much gets taken away by YouTube with the super chats.
Scotch.
What?
If you want to argue about it, go ahead.
But what?
The beer.
No,
Oh, that's it.
I trust you.
Sorry, okay.
My favorite Fords were the Escorts with power steering. I could knock out a timing belt and water pump in 21 minutes.
I can remember when I'm old enough to remember when the timings.
Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
I thought a timing belt on a 1.9 Escort was a big job. And then we got the contours. And after the contours, we got the 3.5s.
Logan Breedy says, and I believe this was asked a while ago, but idle and first on both transmissions is pretty damn slow.
Yeah.
Rick, you mentioned 21 miles per hour on the C. That's only 8 miles per hour slower than road gear in a cat grader.
Like you said, you could get a speeding ticket in the school zone with that tractor.
No.
Tessa says, Torn, we brought some of, I think that's, oh, Tom, we brought some of your cookies to a grill out tonight. They were a hit. Thanks again. You make losing pregnancy weight hard. Joe wants to know if his donation came through.
You're married. You don't have to lose pregnancy, right? Fuck it.
Joe Leasing?
Joe Lasing.
Lazing?
Yes.
It did come through.
Appreciate you, Joe.
Joe, thank you, buddy.
That's
Heck yeah.
a long damn
Joe,
drive
thank
if
you.
I wanted you to work on my stuff, Rick. Shannon says.
Alex, I appreciate you, buddy. You're matching.
Tom wants to know what cookies Tessa took. Just to see Squatch drink, I used my lunch money. What you guys think?
Come to plow day, buddy.
What you guys think of the Minnesota legislation trying to outlaw gas lawn equipment after
I'm
2025?
pretty sure we didn't vote that in. We're not going to wade into the weeds, but
I got a lot of stuff to buy in 2034. I'm telling you right now.
2024.
And
Sorry. Never.
and
I got
Antonio says, good evening to all. Where will be the 2023 plow day and what tractor each one will feature?
I'm looking to bring the H freshly painted up, but that's going to be fall plow day, but I don't think we're going to do anything on mine this year, are we? I mean, we pretty much turned it all.
I'm targeting the property east of Carrick, so That would kind of be the Squats 253 plow day. It's not that far away. We'll plow something in the neighborhood here on Memorial Day weekend. If anybody wants to.
That one out by the corner is
Yes.
down. Okay, yeah.
Dalton says, Toby drinking a beer? What the fuck?
Come to plow day, buddy.
What's the worst Chrysler each of you have worked on?
All of them.
The one sitting out there that I haven't been able to get a PCM for months.
Are the differences between working on gas and diesel engines daunting? What are the biggest hiccups?
Diesel just has too much emission stuff on them anymore. Gassers aren't far behind it.
Toby,
With a diesel, you're 3 times everything. You're 3 times the sensors, 3 times the problems, 3 times for purchasing. The whole works.
Toby, when's your
I will say,
Talk to the foreman right here.
I will say,
I just show up for the content.
direct injected turbocharged gas engines are right there with the fucking diesel because
Especially
It's-
the Ford EcoBoost. Like
it's the
1.5.
same thing. It's just a different fuel.
Yeah.
It's all of the same shit. They're just running a different.
Overly complicated, overbuilt, over-engineered.
Tim says, I kind of miss working on the BMW E46s until the rear cradle rips out of the floor.
Never touched one of those.
We actually use the V8M for hand picking sweet corn as it can go slow enough for everyone to keep up with it.
One of the only BMWs we saw at the Ford garage, I
Oh,
kind of chased
God.
the guy off when I answered the phone pretending to be
Yeah,
Rick's
tell us
answering service because it was supposed to be his ex-wife, but it turns out it was the customer.
Huh.
We never saw that car again, though.
Not never ever.
Rick had just fielded like 6 calls within 20 minutes from the ex, and finally the phone rings. They're like, Rick Bork, line 1. I'm like, I got this. I'm like, Rick Bork's answering service. We also work on cars. And there was a pause, and then I hear, hello? Please hold. I threw him right under the bus. He had to talk his way right out of that one.
Rex Kramer says he's geared up for plow day. Come on, you think? Honestly, Honda K engine, I find those are easy to work on, but the Broncos from 95, I can strip and rebuild them in 3 weeks.
No, I don't care if they suck.
Well, but I wanted them to see.
I never had to talk my way out of anything. I talked my way into a lot of things, but not out of anything.
Justin Anderson says, donated what I could, maybe a few more beers, and the money will fly.
Damn. What's the next benchmark? I'm asking.
What do you guys think of the Kingpin 60 Dodge from Axle?
Start over?
It says, what do you guys think of the Kingpin?
Kingpin 60. Says the Dana 60 with Kingpins.
Oh, I never worked on one.
Really?
Never touched the Kingpin front axle.
Dalton wants to know what the worst thing you have worked on.
Rick would be, probably that kit car.
Well, they did a 53 Jaguar, the 2021 fucking Jaguar that was blown up. I mean, Jaguar either way.
Well, the first one was a kit car with a very janky fiberglass body on it that was built on a Mustang 2 chassis, but it was an 83 and an 86 hybrid Mustang 2 that they put this fiberglass body on.
And just completely.
And it was packed. It was,
Zach would like to know, Toby, did you ever have anything to do with the power units when you worked on the railroad?
no, I did not work on things. I was TY&E, train yard and engine. I just helped to drive the trains.
How has a Ford 7.3 Godzilla Motors been?
Not good. They have some serious lifter issues.
Yep.
Cam
Cam
lobes.
delaminating and coming
Yep.
the fuck apart.
Yep, yeah, the cam lobes are starting to shell material off, as well as the rollers on the bottom of the
Hard
lifters.
facing on them bastards is leaving
Yeah.
quick.
Cody says he's surprised Bob isn't in here tonight.
But
Wow, Rick Ford made some great Jaguars. The fuck they did.
it did not take me very long in the auto industry seeing how things worked every day to know that you never buy anything first model year up. You don't do it.
Or third.
Like when I bought Old Blue back in 2003, that was the last year they were running the 542 valve. That was the last year for the 40100 automatic transmission. I knew every fault that those could have, and I could fix any of them in my sleep. And that's the year I bought the new truck, is when it was going out. But the people that get excited about the new models have to have them right away, and those are the worst, overall, the worst purchases you can make.
Hey, after our local plow days, I'm ready to drive out y'all way to plow.
It's
But,
fun.
yeah.
Dalton says Toby just committed a hate crime.
What's that?
I think you know.
I don't have a very good memory.
Kingpin 60 beats a ball joint 60.
Oh,
Unless it
man.
needs kingpins.
Yeah,
And then it don't.
I hammered a lot of ball joints, and they're not that bad. Kingpins, we had some of the old reaming bars for them,
Logan
like for the
said.
old school stuff, but we never used any of that.
Logan says Toby said Mustang too, and I threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Oh, they're bad.
All right, I gotta get back out in the garage and get back after it. I got tractor work to do. Film at 11. Check my channel. That's from
10-4.
Joe, I appreciate you, bro.
Tractor work always takes priority. Understand, buddy?
Kyle wants to know what the starting sequence of a train engine is. And before you start on that, I'm going to read the other current comments that are still out there. Ever worked on a Land Rover? If not, you're not missing anything. You see the 7.3 engines have lifter problems. How does that get past QC?
It's because they don't real world test anything anymore. It's all computer algorithm.
It's in a lab. It's controlled
Yeah.
circumstances. Fuck.
And if you want to break anything, give it to the general public. They are going to find the ways to break it.
Okay, now you can enter the starting sequence on the train engine.
Ask the engineer. I would have got fired if I would have tried to start a locomotive. I was just conductor.
Alex says it's not 10 yet. He is lurking. Toby, my F-250
What's the benchmark for another beer scotch?
SSD 5.4
Super Duty.
is Super Duty 5.4 is an O2.
Perfect.
No, that's just fine. By O2, they pretty much had them all worked out.
2L, get her done.
Yeah, like the early build.
Other than leaking head gaskets and shitty fucking manifolds, you get her done.
Yeah,
Those spark
you-
plugs out all the fucking time. But what the hell?
The earlier, like up until 2000, 99, 2000, they blew plugs quite a bit. Like 01, mid-yearish 01, they gave it about twice as many threads in the spark plug holes.
I will tell you right now, the fucking spark plugs in that 03 are not fucking coming up. Because it's seeing all the RPMs.
Rick,
I did change them before you bought it.
Rick says
You used to be in a religious routine to tighten them bitches up too, so.
I got a set of reamers for kingpins.
I would check them. I never had to tighten a plug on them because if I was
Well,
going to
I shouldn't say.
if I was going to haul a tractor to a show and have the trailer on, I'd pop those coils quick and just check them just to make sure nothing was loose. Nothing was ever loose on that.
Minnesota Mike says, guys, let the poor lady get a few words in.
Trade
You
swaps.
want to tell us some stories?
I don't talk about
See?
vehicles.
Yeah, but you got some stories.
You changed my oil.
Yeah. You want to tell us some stories?
When I was in track,
You probably
we had
got plenty of stories about Toby,
DT466Es pushing 40,000 hours
Yeah.
on them in trucks.
Which one?
Well, she
You
probably
don't-
saw the
you don't-
aftermath of that one.
You don't remember the Christmas party, do you?
I do remember the Christmas.
I bet you don't remember all of it.
I like the EMD. Cool to be using a 10-to-1
We can tell
torque
stories.
converter with a 6-foot torque wrench for the head bolt and a 1/2-inch torque wrench for the bottom end.
It's big stuff.
Okay.
What does Montana think of automotive repair nonsense?
Womp 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 womp.
She's got a dad for that.
Yeah.
Sounds like Charlie Brown teacher talk.
Any chance I'll ever see you two come
She knows
to the
her shit.
Yukon?
I don't ever leave the state. I'm just saying.
I went to Florida.
If I get 4 hours away from home, for me, that is a long way away from home.
That's sad.
That's reality.
How are the 15 Escape 1.6 for the water intrusion issue?
No, stop.
They are built, they are engineered to fail.
Our 5.4s the ones that blew their spark plugs out of the head.
Yep.
Well,
Certain years more than others.
Up until the 543 valve, and then they
And then they
let
stuck
those
in.
bitches go.
Yeah, the 2 valves, you couldn't keep them in, and the 3 valves would never give them up.
From my understanding, there's a lot of camshaft failure going on across the board, and it's being blamed for the material manufacturers trying to cut costs.
That might be, but at the same time, they're handed all the specs. They build them to the specs.
You guys are going. Working in testing and acquisition my last few years in the Navy, I can tell you Toby is right. We'd test the piss out of something, and sailors would find a way to break it.
That's right. You make something idiot-proof, they'll just make a better idiot.
Okay, here's the deal.
Well, shit.
This
took me
has
so
been
long.
my. If you guys want to sum up my entire fucking life, tell me that I can't. There's a difference between telling me that I can't and asking me not to. That is 100% fact.
I will back that up.
Minnesota Mike says, I'll say it. Are Connor and Montana dating? No.
There's a massive discrepancy in telling me that I can't and asking me not to.
Because if you tell Rick that he can't, just watch me. That's
I'll go to the end of the fucking world to prove you wrong.
Uh,
And it's just an instinctive fucking trigger. I can't stop it.
second day in, back in 2004, when he was hired on at the Ford garage, he was told that he could not use foul language. He was on probation by the third day. By the fourth day, they realized he had enough of a brain to be useful. He never left probation in 22 years?
18.
18 years?
I didn't work there.
He was on probation the whole time, but they weren't going to fire him. And he swore a lot.
Toby is a man after my own heart. I don't find any joy in wandering or adventuring. Home is my favorite place.
That's right. That's where all my cool stuff is.
Catskill field tests, that I can guarantee. What would each of you do if you were handed the keys to a D11?
Mick Bastard.
I don't know because I only know how to start something with a rope or a hand crank. So
Rex says, tell me I can't do
I'd
it.
probably start out by breaking it. I'm going to tell you right now.
if it don't have levers, I can't drive it. If it's one of those joystick things,
I'm not afraid. Fuck it. I don't care.
Dalton says it's the fuel management problem that's taking out cams.
Squatch.
It could be. What?
Remember the breathalyzer when everybody didn't think I could pass the fucking breathalyzer in vehicles in the morning? And I was the only one that could actually pass the fucking thing?
I didn't even pass it.
Uh,
Oh my god, I remember that.
Oh my fuck.
Anytime there was an interlock, they're like, just get Squatch out there. Don't blow a claim. I couldn't make that sucker crank. Rick's like, I mean, he walked by me.
Well,
and
Rusty came out.
Rusty tried it. Randy tried it.
Yep.
Nathan says technically it has two steering clutch controls, Toby. The D11.
I mean, it could do a lot of stuff, but
Luke says he would trade the keys in for the D11 for cool old stuff.
that's true. I want that 8RD8 or a 1H, good old slide bar.
Shannon says I've wandered all over the world. It was nice, but I enjoy home so much more.
See, if I get more than I would say, Pat, my point of no return is about where I could drive and then stop and turn around and still make it back home before the sun goes down. If I'm any further than that and the camper ain't on the truck, we head back home.
Tom says if someone handed me the keys to a D11, I wouldn't have any neighbor houses left.
Killdozer.
If you were handed the keys to a D11, you would have to fix it first.
That's probably true.
Did y'all
Nathan
just say
says-
Rick can't plow with a skid steer? Bet.
Well,
I wanna-
Kai was alluding to the fact that I can't plow with a skidder.
Yeah,
Yeah, not a skid steer, the skidder.
I would like to know how many bottoms that skidder could pull.
Drop bar standing right there next to the garage door.
Shannon says you want to watch me break
Literally
shit. Tell me to go
inch and a
drive
half
this
inch thick and
D11
2.5
y'all are
inches
talking
wide.
about.
It's all the drop bar you need.
Logan says I've never been out of the Midwest except for when I went to Washington D.C. for a school trip last summer. Rick, you can't break a D11.
Yeah, at the end
Give
of
me a fucking opportunity, buddy.
at the end of Ford Asset Tech School, they flew us all out to Ford headquarters in Detroit, Michigan. That's as far east as I've been, and I've been as far west as Seattle, Washington, and I will never be that far west again anymore. I'll go as far west as Montana. Anything beyond Glacier National Park, I've been there, done that. I don't need to go back.
Which of you put your fists through the wall in the dealer office due to dealer stupidity? I've done it more than once.
I never did that.
Remember the
I really
Snap-on
don't-
guy with unbreakable fucking half-inch breaker bar?
Yeah, I think you had her snap before you left that day.
Yeah.
Is a 1H still an RD8? Kyle would like to know. I worked on D11s, not a fan. I like my little 350 John Deere, keeps me out of trouble.
That's the thing. Anything bigger than like that D6 of mine, it just gets looking too darn big. I think about what it's going to take to fix it, and I'm like,
Minnesota Mike is taking off. He says, have a good night, I'm out.
appreciate you, bud.
buddy.
Uh,
Worst shop fuck up. I'll give you the worst shop fuck up in my opinion. And this isn't even Toby's. The worst shop fuck up was a Lincoln Town Car that got diagnosed as an engine knock and a bad engine.
Oh my god. I know where I remember. Yeah,
And the stator was broken, the torque converter.
it sounded just, and I'm not the one that diagnosed that either. Rick didn't
No,
diagnose it.
it had
I
nothing to do
diagnosed
with us. But I went to Toby immediately and I said, shut your fucking mouth. because I'm going to buy the stock.
To play devil's advocate, that sounded like a legit straight up engine knock.
From a distance. But I was like, but if you listen to it for, give it a minute. I was like, that engine's not knocking. And he was like, man, that was a car.
And what was it for? $200? $100?
$100. So I bought a Lincoln, 97 Lincoln Town Car, and it wasn't a bad car.
It was pretty nice, really.
I remember
That was that red one, that maroon one.
Mhm.
And when it was Rick's turn, that's when we were carpooling. And when it was Rick's turn to drive, we were just, it had the couch seats in it, and it was the float ride. Oh, I mean, if you took a corner with that thing and excelled, it's like the nose would climb, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
it was one of those.
It had
That
all
thing
the,
was
all
nice.
the fucking air ride, everything worked.
Now, granted, it was going, when it went down the road. 'Cause he never fixed it.
The stator was broken in the fucking torque converter.
Yeah.
I didn't give a fuck.
He never fixed it. It sounded horrible, but that was a nice car.
I've actually seen that before. A guy had a Timberjack skidder that is old that he did field work with. He welded 2 3-point connections to the back blade and used the winch to move the implement up and down.
Perfect.
Luke, there's a 5 bottom in the area for 1,000. Look good behind the skidder. Mr. Bronson knows where
Some RD8s are.
some RD8s are.
Condition unknown, just saying.
Just saying. Toby D7, D8, not bad to work on.
They're too big for what I want to do.
Scott, you and Rick come to Saskatchewan, and I'll show you D11 and ride on the largest.
There, I finished it for you.
If someone wanted to get into tractors, what would all y'all consider a good starter tractor to get into the hobby?
If you want something cheap that has widely available parts,
Farmall H.
Farmall H or Ford N Series, even Farmall M. If you want widely available parts and repro parts, those little Fords, you can buy anything you want. They're not a huge tractor, but if you want something that's cheap and you want something that you will be able to get running, Ford N Series. Farmall H, like Connor said, not far behind. Farmall M, pretty close. Pretty much any of the Farmall letter series, you'll find parts, new parts and used parts all over.
Justin says, gotta say this is epic. Great to see you two tag teaming. Man,
Connor and Rick?
what?
13,165.
I sent a link for a 5 bottom IH for $500 today. Kyle, he's already told you. He
Yeah,
tried to buy it.
Pretty damn close to 15. max.
Rick tried to call on that one. He said the lady wouldn't answer the phone, to which I replied, she's obviously familiar with the Rick Pork channel.
Didn't Rick jump his car in the back alley and it fucked up the front end? Then he jumped it the next day and it fixed it.
And we un-effed it.
Fact.
Can't beat a town car. Love them ones I had. Did
The
he?
89 Escort.
That Escort was,
Montana remembers the Escort.
that Escort came around about 10 years too early, because if we would have had GoPros and YouTube back then,
Did either of you ever catch air in a customer ride?
no,
Did once on train tracks, didn't break anything at least.
no, we never did stuff like that, customer vehicles.
I just hit a couple of deer. Got a couple car accidents.
Kyle says LSWD parts are cheap too.
I'm a fucked up. Well, I
Whoa,
just
hold
fucked
the
up.
brakes. Luke is out.
What?
Early morning tomorrow. Have a good one, boys.
See you, Luke.
He's
Fuck's
ditching.
sake. Tomorrow's Sunday.
What is the funniest Ford prison story y'all have?
Horse chicks?
Yeah. I'm just gonna say
It is Luke.
bad decisions
It is Luke.
being made.
Funniest Ford prison story y'all have? I could get into it, but I don't know if Rick's going to want to tell the whole.
Let's do it. I want to know what your funniest is, and I'll tell you what my funniest is.
Honestly, I think the one that I enjoyed the most that I still think about is when Rick was messing with Roy with computers. So Roy's the prior owner of the place. Grew up there. He'd been there for 60 years. He retires. He sells it to the other guy. And his retirement plan was just to come in, not have to answer the phone, not have to run parts, not have to sell vehicles. He's just going to sweep the floor, show up when he wants, just unlock. And then Rick decided that it was not going to be a relaxed because it started out, Roy, come in, sweep the floor. And got a coffee, so there's pickup truck in the shop. He'd set the coffee on the back bumper, go sweeping. As soon as he'd get far enough away that Rick was out of field of vision, Rick would just take that coffee cup and put it on another bumper. And then he'd just stand back and watch. And Roy'd get done sweeping the floor and he'd go back and say,
Oh,
and then he'd put it back. And then as soon as he'd go sweep the other way, Rick would swap it back to where it used to be. So that's like, oh, that was all well and good for a while, but then you know where this is going.
I know where it's going.
That was,
I'm not denying any of this, just so you know.
like with anything else, pretty soon the novelty is wore off, and we need to move that needle a little bit more. So we're out in the office. We're out in the office this one day. I come up there for something. Rick was looking for a part, and he goes to just look at the parts computer, and all of a sudden he sees that all of a sudden there's like somebody's typing numbers in it. It's like nobody's touching it. Well, we had that parts computer was synced to another one out in the shop. So the office and the shop were the same system. And it turns out Roy was trying to look up a part for something. I don't know if it was a battery or something. So Roy's out there typing the part number in, and we're seeing it like playing out live where we are in the office. And I'm like, what's going on? And Rick's like, and he's standing there. He's like almost like he's ready to pounce over the keyboard. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, shut up! You know. So we're watching it, and you see the part number start getting typed. It's like 3C, 3Z, and it's like 1, 4, and Rick just goes on the keyboard. It's like that. It just goes, and all of a sudden it's that long. And I'm like, oh, this is gold. And you see the cursors just sitting there, just waiting for another command, you know. So all of a sudden it's like, boom, 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 boom. Okay, so we're taking it all back. 3C, 3Z. He does it again. It's like. And now we got to pause. It's like 5 seconds. This thing's just sitting there. I'm like, and at this point, I'm rolling. I'm like, I can only imagine what's going on out there. And all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. They'll get erased again. 3C. And it's like he hit it instantly. And the cursor just stayed there that time. I mean, we were done. We were out. I walked in. So I don't even remember. I'm like, oh my God, this is just pure evil. But it's like, I even felt ashamed for myself because I'm rolling at this point. So I get it back under control, and I like found the oil filter or whatever I was after. I walk back out in the shop, and Roy's like, "Morning, Toby," and I'm like, even hard to get past it. So then pretty soon we need to move the needle a little farther. So
I don't know who he is.
Roy comes in. I think it was 2 days after that. I'm working away over there under the hoist, and then I look over and I see this. Rick's just. So, I know something's up because we don't move fast unless there's a pie. And there was no pie in the break room, and he was heading the opposite direction. So I'm like, oh my God! And sure enough, I look over, Roy's at the computer, and it's. So I need to go up to the office to find something at this point. Okay. So I get up there, and Rick's just on it, but he's got the mouse. He's waiting. It's like we got the laser focus of a Navy SEAL. We're focused like a Navy SEAL at this point, you know. And you watch the cursor; it's going up to like powertrain, and he just about gets there to clicking, and Rick goes body trim, and a whole nother heading pops up, and it's like. The cursor just stays there for like 3 seconds, and finally it starts moving again. Deselect. We go back to powertrain, and it's like trim. We did this like 3 times, and pretty soon it started moving again. And then I think the 3rd time he took it and just scrambled it all over the screen. And then that's when the arrow just stayed there and stopped. We'd given up. And then, what happened about a day and a half after that, Rick?
Had a heart attack.
Roy's fine. He's fine.
He's
okay?
fine. He's good.
Are you happy with yourself?
Kind of. I won't change it.
That one.
I would still do it to anybody else. I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest.
Rick's equal opportunity. He would have done it to me. He'd have done it to anybody.
Just give me an opportunity. Yeah.
Like I said before.
It's like I told anybody, opportunity's everything.
Rick always carries a hammer. Don't be an ant. All right. You'll be just fine.
Justin said, "Did either of you ever play Dodge the Falling Hoist?" Yep.
Yeah.
Several times. Only months after you told him the hoist was going to fail.
Yeah, we had that one Explorer that was up on the 2 post when the cable's finally let out, and then the one side wants to go down faster than the other. So about the time the car was at about a 40-degree angle, we had to go and get the skid steer in under it with the bucket and the powertrain lift under the front and a floor jack with about 3 4x4s under the one side to stop that until we get the other one leveled, and then it was just work it down from there.
Cal says Toby's an excellent storyteller.
What's your favorite story?
It has to be with you fucking around with Zach in the fucking garden house. And I shut the water main off. So we got a car wash kid, and the guy's got about fucking 2 brain cells trying to rub together and make one. You know what I mean? This is straight from my daughter, because this is a line I took from her, because, you know, she talks about people like that. So he's out back, and in the summertime, you watch cars out back. He's out there, and Toby is fucking a shampoo machine. He's over there bumping the fucking plug-in in and out. So this thing's surging and fucking, yep. It's revving like you're fucking riding a snowmobile on a fucking oval course.
And he's thinking it's in failure mode and it's going to cut out at any time, so he is shampooing like a mother out there, just trying to get through.
Then Toby gets bored with that. He goes over and cuts the fucking water off.
Yeah.
So I clue into what Toby's doing. And then all of a sudden, you know, it just peters out, no water. And Toby go over, cut the water back on quick. He come back in.
And I just turn around and be working.
Yep. He goes back out there. It's fucking working. Toby cuts the fucking water back off. He comes back in. Pretty soon, Toby just, you know, I cued in onto it. So I'm like,
Rick's over here watching. I can just, and you can tell the gears are turning. I mean,
so pretty soon I'm like, fuck it. The next time I just haul ass into the bathroom and cut the water main off. Because the water main coming into the building's in the bathroom. I cut the water main
all the way
off.
up on the other end of the shop.
Yep.
Completely crushed shop.
I cut the water main off, so Toby doesn't have to do anything. He comes back in, water's still on,
He's like,
nothing. He goes marching ass up to the office.
he goes and gets the boss.
He goes and gets the boss, and the city shut the water off on us.
And again, Rick never moves fast for anything, but this time it was
Yep.
right past them. Right past the both of them.
I had to. I mean, because I didn't I got tied up and, you know, I was working for a second in my fucking career. So.
But it never raised an eyebrow.
I know. So I go fucking hooking past them, just hauling. Because I got to get there before they get.
And I was watching this. I had perfect vantage point because I could see both parties. And Rick literally threw the valve as the boss hit the nozzle on the hose, and it was perfect water. Zach's head just about blew. Okay. You know, he's like,
And the boss is like, "What in the fuck is your problem? Just clean your car." This is, you know, it's already been 4 hours and you just complete fuckery at this point.
oh. And boss goes away. I said, I told you it wasn't me. He never knew it was Rick either. He never figured it out. Oh.
Can we hear my Zach kick Toby's pickup?
Yep, we can.
Well, I was horrible to Zach's car, but I didn't. I had that old '92 Ranger at the time. That was my $500 vehicle. I bought that thing for $500, and it was so rotted out. The cab had laid back against the box, and it ran great.
But to be fair, this was Zach's Escort. It had already been fucking rear-ended at that point.
By that Dodge Dually.
Just like the fucking old Blue had gotten.
But that old Ranger was the good old days where you actually had the steel bumper. So it was the manual 5-speed, low 4-banger, 2-wheel drive. Great gas mileage. It wasn't worth it dang in the wintertime, but I didn't buy it for that. So I'd come tooling into work, and the whole back end of Zach's car was already caved in. I mean, it was literally caved in. And I'd just come in with that, and I had her just timed perfect. I could just pop in neutral and just start coasting down. And about the time I was ready to stop, it would just pop the back of Zach's car, and it would rocket against the park pole, shoot back, and hit the front of my truck again. It left the perfect gap right there. I mean, it was like it was an auto parking system, and it's like, hey, I didn't touch your car. You got their daylight there. I park like that every day. I think every day for months.
Except for the days where you're like, you know, a couple extra pumps on the clutch that.
In all fairness, you need to prove the system out because I could get that thing in first, and I could just ease the clutch, and it would creep forward, pop Zach's car. It would hammer against the park pole, hit the back of my truck. Just about the time I'm popping the clutch again, if you could time it so both of them were coming together at the same time, you could actually get like a burp off the front wheels of that car. I mean, you could, an inch at a time, you could move that car forward.
Or just hook onto it and drag it around with your fucking one ton.
That's before I had a 1-ton. That was this guy. But he got clued into me doing that. He got mad. Told him, go run into my truck. I'm not running into your truck in my car. Well, I gave you the opportunity. So we're leaving one night. It was 5 after 5. He's out on the lot doing something, lockup rounds or something. I'm like, he's watching to see if I run into his car. So I'm like, Rick said, you know, run into his car? I'm like, I got a better idea. So I go back up a little bit, pull up next to it, and I just take my driver's door and I just fake like I doored it real quick. I just about a little ways out and pulled it back. Never touched his car. He saw that, which was the goal, and the Ranger had some slow leaks on tires because I'm not gonna fix it. Pull it up behind the back door of the shop. I'm going in there to get the air post, the air up the front tire, and I hear boom! And it's like Rick just starts laughing. I'm like, what? It was metal crunching. I'm like, it's like
I was impressed.
I don't know what.
I was fucking entertained at the same time.
So I'm coming out with the air hose, and Zach comes around, and he is full eggplant mode. And that kid was pissed. He turned 8 shades of purple and just started battling. I can't even understand what's coming out of his mouth. I hear, something about your car. Turns out he got so mad because he thought I doored his car. He winds up, and with Rick in it, I didn't see it, but he did like a Chuck Norris kick right to the side of the box on that thing. And it crunched the outer panel into the inner box panel and still put a dent in the inner panel. He kicked it that hard.
I was impressed.
And I'm
And
like,
thoroughly fucking entertained at the same time. I'm not gonna lie. I was just.
and I wasn't too hot about it because I run that truck. When you had your escort, we ran into each other for fun. I didn't care, but I'm
We
like,
ran each other trying to get out of the fucking snow.
I'm like, you know, I didn't door your car, right? And I get a I'm like, I didn't touch your car. Well, why don't you touch my car? And it's like, and Rick's laughing so hard he can't even talk at this point. I didn't get any help there.
I was so entertained at that point.
Oh, he got mad. Yeah, I still don't know if he believes that I never doored his car, but
Doesn't really matter at this point. Remember when I had the white crew cab? And I wanted to see if I could climb up the hood of that car.
you did. Something let loose in that front clip too.
It was bad.
It was about 15 cracks in short succession, and Rick's like, "Dude, we gotta get over here."
And it turns out your 1-ton diesel can't climb on the hood of a fucking 98 Escort.
Well, you can climb onto the hood.
But it's not going to
Escort's not
handle
gonna
it.
like it. How about Rick Pickle Fork dodging game? I couldn't dodge it. It was a little faster than I was. Yeah, I had parked that. That was okay. So that was Super Duty. Needs some ball joint work done to it. And I put it on the drive-on rack, and I parked it way too far forward. So you got the knuckle and the suspension is kind of in line with the hoist post. So you're kind of working in behind that. So I couldn't get a good swing this way because I would have been hitting the post. So I had to get in line with it, and we're just kind of driving it like that. And I had it in the upper ball joint, and we only had the one fork that would fit that one because it needed that big fork. I couldn't double it up with one on the bottom. So I got my deadbolt, and I'm just wailing on that thing. And we're winding it a little harder each time, and I'm making ground on it. And I smack it the last time, and about the time the hammer gets right here on the backstroke, something just drills me in the face. I didn't even see it coming. Blasted the glasses right off my head. And it's like all of a sudden blood. So the first thing I'm doing is the tongue check to make sure all the teeth are still there. They were all there. So the next thing I do is pick my glasses up, and it's like, no, they're not broken. I got to straighten back out a little bit.
all over.
And yeah, what happened, the pickle fork, I had so much pressure on it. I was standing right in line with it. I drilled it that last time, and the ball joint never popped, but it's like it must have flexed and came detached, and that thing came shooting back, and I caught it right in my face. Whole side of my face. Cut the inside of my face.
That fucking truck too.
Oh, that was. It only took about I'd say 10 minutes, and I was just purple and swollen
Well,
up on both sides.
Funny part is, it only took me 5 to make a sticker.
I know. The sticker was the sticker.
It was in shipping before his swelling went down.
Yeah. It's still on my side locker too. Fair game. Fair game. I earned that one.
Best tricks played on each other.
We didn't really do a lot.
I got one, and it's you'll appreciate this because this was in your OCD days. It was on the tail end because this is when I swapped
Swapping drawers around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you didn't
That
fucking
was-
realize it
That
for 2
was-
years.
That was past my OCD days.
Yeah,
I was
you
done at that
didn't
point.
realize it for fucking 2 years until I swapped it back.
Yeah, the service cart had it follows me around to all the different jobs, so I don't have to keep going back to the toolbox. And it had like 3 rows of drawers in it, and the top was a split bank drawer, so there was hammers on this side and just general junk drawer on the other side, and you're in those every day. And all of a sudden, it's like, I need a hammer. Well, that's the junk drawer. Oh, okay. Or I need some junk. Well, that's the hammer drawer. And I'm just, by this point, I'm over it. It was just get to 5 o'clock and go on living every day. And it went on for it was almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And it was just about the time I got used to the new sequence without realizing I was getting used to a new sequence. He swaps them back. And then I'm finally like, I'm like, did you swap my drawers? He's like, 2 years ago, genius. And I'm like,
And then he thinks back and he goes,
and I'm like,
oh, fuck.
yeah, it all made sense at that point.
Because I was like, I just put it back to the way it was 2 years ago.
I
And
know.
then,
And then I'm like, you switched something around. Something's not right. That was really about it, though.
yeah. Well, you knew.
They were easier targets, man. We
Oh.
could go after each other.
It was well established in early. It was like, all right, I'm not going to fuck with you.
Don't fight it. Go along, get along. God, there's a lot of other stuff we did, but I think my favorite story of all time was when you fell off that ladder in your first hit and you landed on the ladder. That was when your back was
Still made it work.
turned as black as the shirt he's got on. I'm not kidding you, because I didn't even know anything happened. We come into work one day, it's in the morning, and he's kind of moving all stiff like, but I don't think much of it because Rick does a lot of stupid things. And all of a sudden he's like, hey, you want to see something? I'm like, whatever. I figure he's whatever. He lifts his shirt, and it was literally that color black, his whole back. And I'm like, oh! And I'm like, what did you? It's like someone took a magic marker and painted his whole back just black. I'm like, what? I'm like, is that a bruise? He's like, yeah, I think so. I'm like, are you still alive? But yeah.
Funny how you had to question that.
So
I'm still dead inside.
So that's back in your
Don't
fur.
laugh at me.
That was back in his trapping days. He did a lot of fur. He had that little fur shed out back of the house, and he, being Rick Bork, it had wood laminate floor. Okay, probably the only fur shed in Pine County that had wood laminate floor. Little loft up above, and he'd keep all his trapping stuff out there. You had like that quad folding ladder thing that you could configure all different ways.
That thing over there?
That motherfucker. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still broke. It's literally the rung is still broke off that thing to
Yeah.
this day. We have a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
I bolted it back on because I was too cheap to buy a
It's
different
that.
one.
It's
That
that.
one right there. Literally.
It's
You can see
literally,
the bolt in it.
it's literally that ladder.
Turn it. Turn it. Yeah.
That's right there.
There you go.
Anyway, he's out in the fur shed with that thing, and you must have had it. I think you had it extended all the way because he had it up on the top rung up at the top ledge of the loft, and he was getting something out of it. So he's rummaging around up there, and being that wood laminate floor, the feet on that thing weren't great, and he was at the top. That bottom of that ladder kicks out, and he's coming down, but at this point he just grabs onto the ledge of the loft, just instant. And all that did is gave the ladder time to land flat on the ground. He did like the hang and the curl back about the time his fingernails let go, and he went flat back down completely on top of the ladder, and he broke it. He bent it, he broke it, he did everything. And it was such a crash. His ex-wife comes out of the house to see what just happened.
She gets out there, and your lungs were like literally flat at that
I
point.
couldn't fucking.
He knocked the wind out of him so bad he could just lay there and go. "Ah!" She's like, oh my God, are you all right? And he was like, "Ah!" She's like, I'm calling the ambulance. So Rick didn't want no ambulance, but all he could do is lay there and go. "Ah! Ah!"
She knows. She was there too. Fuck.
At this point, okay, I know Rick well enough to know that he's hurt himself enough that he knows when he needs to have something looked at, and he knows when he's fine. He's already waved off an ambulance at this point. I trust his judgment. But if I was there, I'd be treating this like a Blassie episode at this point. I'd be like, what's wrong, boy? Tell me. Ah! It's like, Ricky fall off the ladder. Ah! I mean, seriously, I've been cold. If I could have had if I could have had a kid, shut up. If I could have had a camera up in the corner and caught that on film, that would be my ringtone. That would be the intro to my channel, and it would be on loop where the ladder kicks, he hangs, falls, wham, and in reverse, right back, and it would just go wham over and over every day, all day long.
To be fair,
Oh my God.
most of the times that I've got fucked up in my life, you were there.
I missed that one, but I wish I could have seen it. Oh my God. It took you like 5 minutes to even talk, which, I mean, Rick knows by this point, for as much as he sends everybody else's way, when you get that rare opportunity to send it back, you take it, he's not going to say anything. Because you know.
I couldn't. Physically
man.
could not.
Oh, I wish I could have been there. Oh. Trying to communicate with. Oh. Good times.
And that was with the most concussed you've ever seen someone in your life.
No, you
That
were.
was that's what I'm saying. You've seen me as with the worst concussion
Yeah.
I've ever had in my life.
But even severely concussed, and after having blistered retinas with the welder that day, he still knew enough to give hippies a bunch of crap. He was still disgusted by hippies. They were out there. They had that old LTD, and they were trying to like tie their kayak.
You got me
down
sent
the
home
road.
for that.
And Rick's up there in the front of that truck, and he's like, "This was almost as bad as the time you showed up blitz at the Christmas party." He's just sitting there, and he goes, "Oh yeah, it's just wrong." And it's like he had the one pupil was bigger than the other and everything. I don't know how he did it. I mean, I saw it on an episode of South Park one time when Cartman popped his little brother over the head, and it's like, but it's like, and I just went up to Rick, and I'm like, Rick's messed up. Seriously, he needs to go home. And that's, yeah, they sent him home after that. And that's when he slept like 26 hours straight.
36 hours. I can't do back to work with a concussion, but whatever.
Well, that was right after that tree attacked us that day. That's another one. That was okay. This is another last story, I promise. But this was September 4th, 2014, because I can remember dates like that like crazy. But
You still got the Ford Emblem, don't you?
yep, that's when I had my 03 Ranger. That was another 2-wheel drive 4-cylinder. That was an automatic, but little gas mileage commuting truck. Rick and I were still carpooling, and it was like nasty thunderstorms rolling through that morning. It was horrible. So we're driving to work, and it's like pitch night black outside, and the rain's coming down in sheets. I'm trying to even see the lines on the road. We're doing maybe 45, 50 miles an hour. And the winds are just crazy. And all of a sudden, well, you remember what you said. I'm driving. No, you said holy shit 3 times.
Yeah.
Right.
Holy shit.
And it was the way he said it, because Rick says that all the time. But and I'm not trying to be funny. It was the way he said it. It's like, something's not right. And I look up just in time, the straight line wind, and it had been raining for like 3 weeks at that point. The ground was saturated. Straight line wind comes across, and it pulls this. I mean, it was like a 30-inch diameter red oak or white pine, and it does like the whip at the top when the wind catches it, but it doesn't go back. I caught the tail end of the whip, and then the trunk basically surpasses where the top was, and that thing's coming down. I've never seen a tree go over that fast in my life. And I've been pulling that stuff down with the D6 for like 10 years. I can't make trees fall as fast as that one did. And it's like it was halfway over and we are coming, I mean, we're on a direct collision course. I could hesitate, gas or brake. You know, it's like, I'm not going to beat it. So I chose brake, and we're still in the process of slowing down. I bet we were still doing 30, 35
Easily.
and it's coming in.
Simultaneously.
I swear it's heading right for the cap, you know? And I remember we started going into the branches. The trunk still isn't down yet. And like,
I remember the glass spider.
Well, subconscious reflex, I just closed my eyes split second before we hit. And I didn't even mean to do it, but it was just, and then pow. And what happened was the trunk hit basically the road the same instant I hit it. And none of the branches went through the windshield. They scun down both doors because we both could barely get doors open because branches that big around were tight up against them. And the airbags blew, and you get that nasty airbag vapor.
If you've ever been in a fucking accident, it's
It's bad.
unbearable, unbearable. You can't.
It was just pow, and then just complete silence. I mean, you could have heard a pin drop. And I opened my eyes, and it's like I can't see. It's like I could see, but it blew the glasses right off my face. I don't even know where they are. I don't know where my phone is. And I'm like, first thing I do is this. It's like everything's here, and it hadn't even hit me yet what happened. And I was kind of like, huh, well, I'm fine. How are you, Rick? And you're like, I don't know. I mean, he's sounding weird, you know. And it's like at that instant, your phone rings.
Yep.
And it was the ex-wife, and he goes, yeah, we just got in the car. And okay, so I'm like, dude, help me find my glasses. I can't see. And Rick's like, I gotta get out. All right, so
I was like, I told him, I'm like, I'll come around and get you out.
yeah,
Because neither one of us could breathe at that point.
yeah, that airbag dust was just in the air, and once that gets in your nose, you're pretty much done. It just locks you up. So he gets his door open, and he's ramming it against these branches, just trying to get it open. And I can't see this far in front of my face without contacts or glasses. I can't. So I'm just feeling around, and like down on the center hump, I find my phone. All right, there's that. And then up on the dash, there's my glasses. So I get those on my face. They weren't broken or anything. I get my door open, and I just barely get it open enough to squeeze out. And he's out by that point. And I got out and I looked at the front of the truck, and it's like the whole front of the truck is gone. All right. The engine is pushed back clear into the firewall. I mean, the thing's just totaled out like
Well,
crazy.
the fucking valve cover is where the heater controls are.
Yeah. So I'm like, are you sure you're all right? And he was like, I don't know, man. So there was that guy in that Toyota car that was right behind us, and he watched the whole thing happen.
Yeah.
And by this point, he's out of his car, and it's like he's approaching like cautiously. I think he was sure he was going to find something really bad. And
I think he thought two people just died.
and he was like, yeah, you guys all right? I'm like, yeah, dude, I think I'm all right. I think Rick's all right, but I'm like, yeah, we're good. Oh, good. And he goes back to his car. So and I don't know the guy. I've never seen him in my life.
downpouring fucking
Downpouring rain.
which is
And it's
terrible.
like, at this point, all of a sudden this starts happening. And it's like after you shoot your first deer ever, you get that adrenaline rush, and you can't sit
Times 10.
still. And I'm just convulsing all over here. And I'm like, dude, seriously, you all right? And the rain is just coming again. And I'm like, let's see if we can go get in this guy's car. So we go to his car, and I knock on the door. He kind of rolls the window down. I'm like, hey, man, can we sit in the car? It's getting real bad out here. He's like, oh, yeah. So he unlocks the door, and when we climb in the car, he was so worked up. He's trying to call it in 911 on his phone. He can't hit the buttons. It's like his brain doesn't work at this point. And I'm like, dude, we just almost died. Seriously. Yeah. And it's like, I can't even think at this point. And Rick can barely talk now because something happened where I don't know if your seatbelt didn't keep you down in the seat and you smacked your head on the ceiling or
But
something.
it didn't matter because the windshield wasn't fucked up, neither was the headliner. So I don't know what
There were no impact marks at all. You could see where the airbag doors blew on the dash and scuffed the inside of the glass, but that was a straight line. So I don't know what he hit his head on, or if it was just whiplash that bad but he was messed up. And and that dude in the car, he never said another word. I never thought to even ask his name or anything because at this point I can barely think because it's finally hit me.
Because
What happened?
when the operator picked up for 911 when you called, you couldn't fucking
First,
talk either.
first of all, I couldn't hit 911.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, stop trying to type it out. Just hit the button that says 911. I got that far, and really, it's like your brain quits working, you know. And so then you get the operator, and she's like, "What's your emergency?" I'm like, "Yeah, I need to report a car accident." Okay, what happened? And I said, "I was the one involved. Me and my friend. Everybody's okay. Where is it?" And it was on 23 and Deggerstrom Road, right on that intersection. And I could not pronounce Deggerstrom Road. I was like, and I'm like, I think somebody else has already called it in. She's like, if it's the one on 23 between Bruno and Asco, somebody else has already called it in. Everybody's coming. Are you sure everybody's all right? I'm like, yeah. She's like, hold there. You know, emergency responders are on their way. I'm like, thanks. Hung up. And it's like, it kind of stopped raining by that point. And the traffic's starting to pile up on both sides now. Logging trucks are trying to get through. The road's
We're
completely
out there trying to drag fucking. We just got a fucking car wreck. We're trying to drag trees out of the fucking road.
Yeah, but that's what we are. And already Rick's messed up because he's like, I got a dump truck to haul and stuff out here. And honestly, it's like,
I'll fix it.
yeah. But he was slurring like he'd been into it for hours, you know, just I'm like, you got something wrong with you. I'm fine, you know, because don't tell Rick anyway, you know. But
Thank you.
State Patrol shows up and he's like, well, first we got to, you know, one of the logging truck guys had a chainsaw. He's already cutting the tree in half, and they hooked it to a semi and drug it off the road. State Patrol guy's like, we got to get your truck out of here. You think it'll move? I'm like, sure. We got it in neutral. We pushed it into that little turn into that field. And then I think your ex showed up, hauled us into Seabolds. And I couldn't call Rusty because all the power was out. Phones were dead.
This is right. Okay, this is so prelude. This we got to take a search because 3 months prior, someone had been pulled over for speeding.
I didn't get a ticket, just a warning.
But Toby was known for doing 75, 80 miles an hour on the way to work.
I knew exactly how long it took to get from point A to point B, and they weren't getting 1 minute more of my time. That's just what it was.
Right up until he got pulled over. And then we're going to do 55 and leave early.
It's 10 after 8. I finally get into call the boss, and he's like, yes. Like, I've got another excuse to make or something. And I'm like, Rick and I were just in a car accident. What? Yeah. Well, what happened? I'm like, we hit a tree. You hit a tree? Well, the tree almost hit us. We're fine. I said, my truck's totaled. We're going to be there. We're still trying to get the road opened up. You're sure you guys are fine? Yeah, we're fine. All right. So we get into work, and then, you know.
So well, I shouldn't say the best part of this, but fucking 6 months prior, we had a whole conversation about the dealership putting all their eggs in one basket, and literally all of their eggs were in one basket.
In that basket, and the basket got totaled.
Yeah.
But it would literally, if it would have been a split second later, if the tree would have hit the road and had time to rebound, the hood would have went right under it, and it would have been the end. Everything happened just right. If I'd have decided to gas it instead of brake, it would have hit the cab. We'd have been that much further along. It wouldn't have been on the front of the truck. It was literally 3 inches from the cab of that truck is gone. And it wasn't until like the next day we stopped back, and we're just looking at all the pieces that are just in the ditch yet. And Rick bends down and he's like, hey, look at this. And he's got the Ford emblem on the front of my truck, and there's not a scratch on it. It blasted it right off the grill, but the thing's like perfect. He's like, hey, it's your souvenir. And it's like, seriously, that's been on the nightstand where I see it every day. And it's like, seriously, I got an extra one today. And that's been almost 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one where I don't ever need to taste that airbag powder again. That stuff was, all that stuff.
What happened to the Ranger once it was totaled?
They told down sandstone. Yeah. So insurance company. Oh yeah, insurance company says like, we're gonna put together some numbers on this thing and we'll get back to you. That thing's obviously totaled. We'll cut you a check. So I'm going on Carfax, and I got the boss running the MADA values, and I got all my numbers. I know exactly what it's worth. Should top out around, $5,000, 5,200, good shape. So insurance company calls me a few days later. I'm like, yeah, time to figure out the value of that truck. I'm like, all right, now what do you got? And they're like, well, we searched some 3 for sale ads for a very comparable vehicle within a tri-county area of your location, and we averaged those out. And I'm gonna work hard for like $5,500. Or like, how's $6,900? It's like that scrap piece of paper went behind my back, and I said, that sounds very good, man. So actually made out right on the Ranger. But
They
coming
fucking
up with comments.
begged me to sue you.
Me?
Oh yeah, my insurance company tried to get Rick to sue me for about a year, right up until the statute of limitations ran out. They even offered to provide him with an attorney if he wanted to sue me.
Legitimately to the point where I would bring these letters to Toby and be like, I'm not making this shit up, dude.
He's like, you're paying for this.
Yeah. I was like,
But
I'm obviously
sure,
I never fucking pursued it, but it was
well,
like,
what they were going to do is they were probably going to get to go to trial and cut you a settlement or something.
Yeah.
That's what they were trying to do.
but it was just fucking, it was flagrant. I mean, it was
It was a little bit disturbing that you're supposed to be covering me and you're trying your best to get him to ruin me.
Yeah.
It's
It was
like,
bad.
and I'm pretty sure if that would have been anybody else, at least that would have been the best prank ever, because he'd have taken it to the 11th hour before he'd called that off. I mean,
That's true. I'm not that bad. I'll do a lot of cynical shit for my own
that's
entertainment.
11 Ranger
I'm not
was total. Yeah, they bought it back and crushed it. All I got is that Ford emblem, but yeah, I look at it every day. And you know, I've got my OCD eccentricities. That part's not a man, okay?
You get over it.
But no, and it's not like a PTSD thing, but it's like leading up to that day, you know, obsessive.
There's shit that doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, needed to be like have everything in order, needed to have everything under control. Would get agitated when other things around me, like Connor didn't have his hat on quite straight or something. It would eyebrow twitch, and it's like after that, most of that stuff just went away because it's a
whatever
perspective thing.
whatever I didn't kill before that, the accident did.
Well, it's a perspective thing, because all of a sudden it hits you. It's like all that obsessing and worrying and all that trivial stuff to that point. If that would have been the end, what good did that do? Nothing.
Right.
Absolutely nothing. And 99% of the stuff you obsess about doesn't ever go bad anyway. You know.
So like how I tell everybody everything is just perspective and opportunity.
So
right?
the last part of that story is the thing that was kind of the most unnerving. It all kind of made me mad. Really, is it's unbelievable. I've worked in that town for almost 20 years at that point, 17ish years. And it's a town of 300 people. So pretty much anybody that lives there, we've met. Okay. Everybody knows everybody. And it's amazing how many people ask me, so how did you not see that tree just in the road?
Yeah.
You know, how did you just run into that tree? What's the deal? And I'm like, you think I would, first of all, do I put off that kind of an aura where it's like you legitimately think I would just be like, well, I'm driving. Well, I guess there's a tree there. I guess I hit it.
Dalton says, how many trees did you and Rick clear with Rick's Ford Ranger?
Well, we didn't clear as many with that Ford Ranger as he did with that 89 Escort. That Escort was another story where
Where
it's
are we at
stuff.
on the total, by the way?
Fundraiser.
Toby said a drink at 15 grand and he doesn't even know it.
That Escort was another one that should have went bad. Really bad.
13 to 15.
Plus the
14.
13, 40. Toby's gonna have another beer for $500.
Sultan Gallagher asked, how about the Escort? You want that one? Because we had some times in that Escort.
I mean, there's so many stories you can
Just the sideways jump that should have been a barrel roll that somehow wasn't. And nobody had seatbelts on.
the seatbelt something mattered. Just to be clear, there was not enough anchor for seatbelts to matter.
That's back when Bob was logging behind neighbor Rick's place.
Yeah.
We decided in wintertime.
Which would have been, in turn, would have been my old property, but it happenstance, it doesn't matter. So, I buy an 89 Ford Escort that the boss did not want to sell. He didn't want to sell it. But he's like, and I kept pushing and pushing and pushing. So, $50 was the purchase price. Tax, title, and license was $98.75 out the door. So, $100 bill and I got fucking change. And I bought me a 4-door fucking car. Toby and I are carpooling to work at this point, and I was like, "Bitch, get in." And he was like, Toby was, I will call him still young and innocent, because at this point, I was the only friend he ever had. So he's in.
By design.
Yeah.
Okay. And besides, once you take on Rick, you don't have time for anything else. You're not going to shoulder the workload.
So he gets in, and from day one, we're beating the absolute living fuck out of this car. I mean,
Which is funny because it nickel and dimed the prior order to the point he finally just had to get rid of it.
Oh yeah,
He had basically restored this thing and it was mint at this point.
yeah.
We couldn't break it.
All of the things that you could fucking wreck, the body gave up on, or so they thought. And we beat the absolute living fuck out of this thing. And I mean, to no fucking end.
But that one winter, Bob was logging out there
So we,
on the back of the field.
so neighbor's property, Bob's logging that owned this property. That's a whole fucking different story. But he's logging out there, and he's got roads that go out and through a field and up over a big ass hill and back and through the woods. And I knew Bob. I communicated with Bob. I didn't communicate with the log hauler, so we'd have to take a quote unquote test run through the log road. So you go back in and make sure that nobody's loading logs out of the log landing, and then you just fucking give her all of the shit coming back up.
It's like at no point were all four wheels touching the ground, just from the roughness of the road.
No.
At this point.
Even going in, I mean, at 25 miles an hour, it's sketchy with a front wheel drive fucking 89 Escort. So we come booking ass back out, and there's a stretch along the back end of this field that you can sail this bitch. If you got,
we're on the open field by this point, and we have 3 rolling hills that start out a little bit,
they escalate.
and it's like the middle one is about 50%, and the third one is give her the onion.
Yep.
You know?
It's all of it. So you got a little uphill, then downhill to accelerate, and then more downhill to accelerate, and then
Send it.
I was in it for all of it, just the whole fucking way. So we leave.
And I was door trim and dash. Okay.
By the time we leave the third hill, that fucking car leaves that third hill and immediately goes 45 degrees. And I was like,
And that's the only thing Rick said. Oh, and it's like,
yep.
he's just white knuckling the wheel, and he tries to steer into it, but then realizes nothing's on the ground.
Yeah, we don't have anybody else to steer into this fucking thing with anyway, so it doesn't matter.
And I'm door trim and dash, and I see the snow right there, okay? And it's going by fast.
So we fucking crash, spin, fucking whip around. We never rolled, which is amazing.
Well, the passenger side hits first.
Yep.
And it was honestly, it could have went either way.
Yep. I think it was skiing on the passenger door, really.
Yeah, and even steering it wouldn't have helped at that point.
So
we were going way too
we're
fast.
fucking sliding down the hill. We hit the corner.
Finally, all 4 wheels are on the ground. About the time we're going sideways, so we're skidding sideways into it, and the snow's coming up over the roof. I mean,
Yep.
It's shooting up the driver's doors over the roof, and you can't even see anything out the windshield at this point. And then we start doing the 360s, and we finally get to the bottom of the hill, and we end up looking back the way we came.
Yep.
And it's like laughter. Okay.
Yeah. We're just fucking laughing. So, and for whatever reason, that was throttle body injected anyway, but
It killed it.
Yep.
Because it spun it backwards. It was like a pit maneuver. It's like, killed it.
but you could touch the key on that fucking thing.
Oh, because it didn't have an engine management system that would cut the fuel fast enough. And besides, you still have a little bit of pressure in that too. Even after you cut the engine, you're going to get like a little bit of flood that's going to go into that intake. And Rick's like, I bet it'll start. He takes the finger and the thumb and just goes tick on the starter, and that thing is running. It's we did that to that car so many times.
Oh fuck!
We just couldn't kill
And
that.
it never wrecked the timing belt, which was amazing.
But then Bob, the next day, you get a call on your phone.
So the next day, there is fucking tracks in the snow. They are evident.
and they can't be
That-
explained.
We did some shit. My phone rings, and he goes, "All right, well, I need this story."
God, you did the Ken Block flying Inline 360 in your driveway with that thing at one time, and that's what Old Blue was.
So I-
steamed.
Yeah, that was when that truck was fucking 3 years old.
Oh, I still don't know how you meant it. It was Ken Block couldn't have done that any better.
You had your 03, I had my 04.
And they were literally like this,
Yeah,
with a space behind your 04 next to my 03.
we both had trucks that were less than 4 years old.
Yeah.
Brand fucking new. And some dipshit decides, I got an 89 Ford Escort, I got no fucking parking brake, but if I got enough fucking seesaw in the fucking steering wheel, I can throw this bitch backwards into the fucking driveway.
He just goes, hey, watch this. And if I had any clue of what was about to play out, I'd probably pop the door and did the barrel roll right then and there. He gives her the one way, and he gives her the other way, and he gives her back again. And we literally did a 360 and came to rest perfectly, like we had pulled in and placed it in park behind his 04 next to my 03, and it was spaced. I mean, you could have put a yardstick all the way around that car. And I'm like, that could have went really bad. Really bad.
The problem is we didn't think of that for 5 fucking years.
Problem is
Because we tried it every fucking day after that.
No, the problem is you wanted to do it the next day. And I'm like, I
You
think
didn't
you
stop me.
well, I thought you could pull it off by that point because you did it perfect the one time. And then second time we did that, and it's like, it's not feeling right from the first go because I wasn't looking through his window to see his house by this point last time. And the second time, I don't even know if we did a 360, but we ended with me sideways, and Connor was the bumper of my truck, and I looked right out and I saw chrome. It's like
That didn't work.
That's why I told him we're not doing this again.
Okay, hold on a second. Grant Kopka just said, just hopped on. What is this? I agree, fought cancer. Been bringing my mother to treatment since November with stage 4. What is this?
Fundraiser, buddy. We're raising money for a guy that has cancer, so anybody that can chip in and give a little bit, I appreciate it.
Yeah, we got a bit sidetracked on all storytelling and everything.
The link to the fundraiser should be pinned to
Pinned
the
at the
top
top.
of your chat under the
If somebody
Zissou
wants to
Farm.
run the link, I appreciate it.
www.forwardgiving.com.
Where are we at now? So you got 1340 in cash, so or 1,040 in cash.
There, link just popped up. Iron Man.
Okay. Now look at that. You need especially use another beer.
No, I don't think we hit the limit yet.
Yeah, we did. Said we did.
I should pay more attention to what the limits are.
Yeah, we did. Here. Let me be nice to you this time.
See, I knew you had the regulars.
I know we did. I gotta keep you honest though.
If there's one thing, I'm honest.
I'll tell you the truth every fucking time. I'm just hoping you don't like to hear it.
Hilarious. My buddy and I still relive the stories from our youth every time we get together, and it usually refreshes the memory of other adventures come out as well.
Yeah, that poor Escort, we finally beat that thing hard enough that it started popping the inertia switch. And then we'd have to,
I think we drove it for a long time since.
well,
Well, we could only carpool because Toby had to reset the inertia switch.
yeah, it got to the point I had to ride the back seat because it was the wagon. It was an Escort wagon.
No.
Hatchback?
It was a hatchback,
It was a hatchback.
but it was the inertia switch is the same.
All the way back in the back corner of the car. And we got good enough where Rick would hit a pothole at 60, you know?
All of it.
And it would pop that switch and the engine would just start going. And without even, before the engine even stopped, I had seatbelt off, over the back seat, pow, inertia switch button, and we're going again. But it's like the more we popped it, the more sensitive it got.
Yeah,
So eventually I just had to ride back there with my finger on it until Rick finally got time to snip those wires, just put them together.
Nathan says Toby be sleeping till noon tomorrow after 2 beers.
He's self-employed. He's got options.
Time to do some sketchy shit. Do
Do
that.
that.
Hope I
Yeah, you
get
remember
away with
fucking
it.
busting drifts with the 89 Escort, the 03 couldn't
And I
get
just about didn't make it through. Yeah, we went out on 3:30.
And I was out in the fucking hayfield, didn't even know it.
We went out on 3:30 break just to see if we could cut across, what was that road? It cut across from 33 to 23. It was like a mile out,
Low
a mile
landing
over,
road.
a mile back.
Yep.
And
It's a low landing road.
it was a winter about like this where we got snow regular and it was open fields that would cut across that dirt road and you would get 4-foot drifts. I mean, regular.
Yeah.
If it was bad, it'd be 6-7 foot. And it was a bad snowy day. And Rick's like, what do you want to bet I can make through that with that Escort? I'm like, $5. So I said, I probably better follow you with the tow strap and Old Blue because you're going to get stuck. And he's like, I'll take that bet. So you and Zach got in the Escort.
Yeah.
And I'm following him out in Old Blue. And Randy's back to shop going, you're going to get caught. You're going to get. I mean, get caught doing what? If he runs in the ditch, I'll pull him out. We'll be back in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So he gets on the road, and I see him. He's winding her up because, you know, you can see that little car front end pops, and he's on her. I mean, he's giving it everything it's got, and he blasts that first drift, and it was that loose, fluffy snow, and all I see is like a swirl, and then the car just disappears, and I don't know where it went. I
you
can't even
stopped?
see it. I stopped, and it's like the white cloud starts lifting, and I see these tracks, but it's like you can still hear, and it's like the white cloud's just getting further away. Finally, it lifts, and you blasted like 4 drifts with that thing, and it took him out off the road. At one point, you've got the front wheel ruts, you've got the back wheel ruts, and he's blasting drifts with the side of the car in the hayfield before he gets. The ditch was so filled in, he didn't sink in the ditch. He finally gets her back on the road out the other side, and now I'm in Old Blue and 4-wheel drive, and I get hung up in his ruts, and that thing's doing the axle hop through all this, and I'm like, don't even tell me he made it through that Escort. I'm gonna get stuck. I barely made it through. That.
Hell, $5 Rick is a cheap date. Hell, we were poor back then. we were working for the man. Shit.
Dalton
We
wants to
couldn't
know
make our
about,
own money at that point.
Dalton wants to know about Toby and the retarded kid at the Ford prison.
Which one?
Which one? For years, Rick told the boss he ought to be qualifying for equal opportunity employment benefits because, oh my God. Oh, BB was a good kid.
Well, I may or may not have been the reason that we stopped having monthly meetings.
Grant says, thanks for doing this, guys. Just donated.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Appreciate you,
man.
buddy.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, we've got plenty off track tonight.
Logan wants to know, so how did the Escort finally die?
Well, we took it out to your parents' place and jumped it.
Yeah, jumped it over the driveway, ran over a bunch of fucking trees. And I got to the point where they wanted me to put new license plates, and we had already ripped body panels off of it by changing them to trees.
Yeah, you had that big pine stump in your front yard. Every time something got loose, he'd pop a hole in the panel, run a logging chain through, and
Just rip it off.
reverse and give her.
There wasn't a lot of car left to actually be driving on the road. It was sketchy as shit. It made demo derby cars look way better than the shit we were carpooling in.
Yeah, man.
So-
Toby, you ever go to the Crosby Tractor Show? I've never been to Crosby. I hear a lot of good things about it. Never been there.
Whatever happened to the red Ford that Toby ragged about wasting time on?
Which
Old
one?
IDI. That thing had a
Jet-
hole.
Justin wanted some sketchy. What was your sketchiest Ford story? He was pushing for that. And I wasn't trying to avoid you, bud. I was just we were caught up in stories.
Sketchiest for me would be that guy that rebuilt the engine in his Ford Taurus 3-liter 2-valve, and he didn't get it bolted fully back up to the automatic transmission. He had about 2 bell housing bolts in, an inch wide gap on the other side. He had got the torque converter nuts started in the flex plate somehow. The converter was pulled most of the way out of the hub seal to the point where it was leaking transmission fluid out the bell housing, and he was driving this thing down the road.
Just a little bit.
He was driving this thing down the road.
And
That was
Toby
sketchy.
did a lot of work on that motherfucker. Toby diagnosed it.
I diagnosed it, and then the guy didn't want us to fix
Yep.
it.
He fucking drove her away
He
from
said,
there.
I rebuilt that engine to the last bolt. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah,
It's less.
let her rip there.
Sign on the dotted line. We are not responsible for anything that happens from this point on. Just like the just rolled in channel, customer declined all repairs.
Some of it's fun. Like Scotty Kilmore, that fucking douchebag. He's got 5.5 million subscribers. Good for him, but he's a fucking idiot. Good Lord. Proof is, stupid is as stupid does. Did you see his?
But no, that old IDI, that thing had a dead hole on number 5, I think.
How
That's
about
because I don't think you ever uploaded the footage after I got it running. The smoke that was rolling out of that thing in the back alley.
I don't think you ever watched the end of the video short then, did you?
Maybe not. I don't really watch shorts that much. They're kind of have a beef with shorts.
Gene wants to know the block heater story. He done fucked it up.
You,
Bye.
you can tell a story. I'll tell the rest of it.
You did say there was my story and your story.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm not lying. I drilled a hole through frost plug, through the cylinder wall, and it ended
And
up
the piston.
just about. It wasn't completely through the piston.
Fuck, it wasn't.
Until
There was a
Rick,
black hole on the other side.
until Rick put his pick in the face of the hole, and it went blink. And
Oh,
then there was a
okay.
hole
So it
through
was
the
my fault.
piston. And then there was a hole through. The
That
piston.
was my fault. All right, fine. So
That was a Chevy. Was that
Malibu?
Malibu? Yeah.
3-1. So I will give you how this fucking happenstance circumfuck happened to begin with. Boss buys this thing at the goddamn auction. And they're driving it. It blows up halfway back from the fucking auto auction, which is,
It was
still
all
there, right?
Of course, at that point.
So he buys a Reman, and he was hot and horny over Jasper engines at that point, which Jasper engines were always fucking. You can kiss my ass. I'll never buy a Jasper Reman engine in my life. But that's his decision. I go to throw the first one in, throw that fucker in, go to put the crankshaft on it or the crank dampener on it. It don't fit.
And you called me over there to look
Yep.
at it.
And I was like, hey man, micrometer, all this stuff. I'm like, hey, am I doing something wrong? Toby's like, this is like a 30,000th interference
Yeah.
fit. That's not gonna fucking work.
It wasn't going to go on. It
Just check it.
It wouldn't even start on the taper. On the
Yeah.
front.
So I was like, just verifying. So go up front, and they're like, you need to be doing something wrong. All right, fine, fuck it. So we get together with Toby again. We're doing all this stuff. We get together. We get the fucking conference call, and they're like, you got the wrong dampener. The fuck do I have the wrong dampener? But anyway, so we're gonna mail you a dampener. Fucking week later, we get a fucking dampener for it. Guess what?
It don't fit either.
It don't fit.
That crank had too big of a snout on it.
Yeah, the crank was never turned down. Jerk that bitch back out of there. Get the next literally get the fucking next engine. Now I'm suspicious. I'm overly.
Like those guys just having their own conversation.
They're always works great.
Usually.
Matthew's out. Matthew, I appreciate you, buddy.
See, bud.
So we get the next engine, second engine, and this motherfucker, I'm overly suspicious. All right, so I start looking over things, and
Is that the one that had two head gaskets in it?
nope,
Or was that was one of the other ones? right?
that was a different car. This is the one that only had 5 fucking pistons in a 6-cylinder
That's
engine.
right. Yep. I remember that.
So I look literally just shine a flashlight down the hole. I can see the crankshaft. I'm like, this thing doesn't even have fucking 5 pistons in it. And I go to Toby, I'm like, hey, look in that hole. And he goes, is that a fucking crankshaft? And I'm like,
Something's awfully shiny down there.
yeah. I'm like, this thing doesn't even have. So that was a shit show. You know, oh no, we don't release engines like that. Fuck you. And so we get another engine finally. Now we're into like a fucking year at this point.
Tyler's out. Thanks, buddy.
Tyler, I appreciate you, buddy. So we get another engine. We install the engine, put this son of a bitch on the lot. Customer comes to buy it, and he decides, hey, I want a block heater in this thing. So, happenstance has it. Toby drives a start trying to put a block heater in
I
this
got
thing.
that ticket. And block heaters usually aren't bad, but I'm used to 4 block heaters where the frost plug doesn't have that much of a shoulder on it, so you could just like set a punch up there, knock that thing sideways, vice grip it out, and you're good. These frost plugs had a shoulder on them that was like 3 times.
Well, on a 3-1, to be fair, there's not much relief, and they have a hard shoulder on them. So
You can't kick that thing sideways. All I did was bury that sucker all the way up against the cast iron waffle.
it mats it up against the cylinder wall,
And
it still doesn't. It's not even leaking at this point.
No, it's still tight. It was still press fit. I just drove it all the way as
Yeah.
far as it would go. So I can't grab onto it to pull it out. I can't get it to knock sideways. I'm like, I got to get a hole in this.
I will give you credit because and this is only me reflecting in it now because after you drilling through the frost plug, through the cylinder wall, through the piston, okay, 99% through the fucking piston.
Yeah, it wasn't all the way through until you did. So
Yeah. Thank you very much. It didn't leak coolant. That's actually fact. It didn't leak coolant.
well, when you drill a
Because
hole
you
through a
mated it to the cylinder wall tight enough that it didn't fucking.
and to be fair, when you drill a hole through multiple layers of metal, you get like that little bit of a shoulder curl from the bit, and it kind of glues, it kind of laminates the layers together.
Especially with a carbide burn creating a little heat.
That thing would have been meant if that piston never had to move again. I'm just saying.
It was a brilliant cutaway, by the way. I mean,
So are you done with your story? And I can tell.
no, I'm in the keep
Because
telling
we're
my
not
story.
going Paul Harvey.
So,
on this.
all of a sudden, Toby comes over to me and he goes, "Hey, you want to come take a look at this?" And I was like, "All right." He goes,
It was like when the other idiots had already messed something up, but they waited until after they messed it up to come and ask.
he goes,
Pretty much same.
You ever have problems getting the frost plug out of one of these? And I was like, no, why? And he goes, I can't get this bastard out. So I go under there with a flashlight and I look up and I look him right in the fucking eye. I go, did you drill a hole in the block? And he goes, no. I don't know. So I get my pick tool out. This is when I got the pick tool and poked a hole in the piston. Okay.
Because when it was on the back side of the engine, and you were kind of over the top of the transaxle, steering rack on the other side of that, so you're up in there a ways, and I was just, and you take your hand out to look. I still don't see a hole. We did that for
Too long.
Yeah, too long.
So I go get my straight pick tool. I go, boop,
Yep.
and there's like all of a sudden this black hole. And I look over at him, and he goes, his face just goes fucking white.
We're sweating at this point.
He goes, I think I'm going to be sick.
Yep. It went from I don't see a hole yet to that's a lot of work.
And they go, get a wrench. He goes,
I don't
I
want
wanna
to.
get a
I
wrench.
don't want to.
and I was like, I want to get a wrench. So we get a wrench in the crankshaft. We turn this thing on. I go,
And then you see piston
yep.
rings.
I see the fucking piston go by. I look right at it. I looked him dead in the eye. I'm like, this is the best cutaway ever. So any version of that you want to tell for
No,
yourself?
I don't dispute any facts that have been laid out so far. Everything is absolutely true to form. But the Paul Harvey, the rest of the story. So you remember that, and he's gonna. I haven't even told Rick this ever. So he's gonna want to be interjecting like crazy. I'm saying just wait until I stop talking, and then you can say whatever you want. You do remember that spider bite that I had that time?
Yep.
All right. So it's like about right here, on just kind of almost behind my knee on the side of my leg. I get this. At first, it was like a mosquito bite that was like had like a golf ball under it, and it was just hot, you know. And I'm like, no, whatever. And then it's like it got bigger, and I'm like, I don't know if this is like some kind of boil or something. And then I start getting a fever and stuff, and it's like this thing all of a sudden is that big around, and it's like hard as a rock, and it's starting to turn purple. So it's like, hey, you go get this looked at. And they didn't really know what to do with it, gave me all kinds of antibiotics, sent me home. The next day, the middle of that thing starts turning black. Okay, so this ain't great. So I go back again. They look at it again, and they're like, this looks a lot like a brown recluse spider bite, but we don't really have those around here. They're like, have you ever seen like little brown spiders like with a violin shape on their back? And I'm like, honestly, like that was 05. That summer I had seen like several that looked weird like that. I'm like, there's been a few around I've seen. They're like, we think you got a spider bite of some kind. So they put me on like 3 grades of high power antibiotics. It was the stuff that would pickle you when you walked out in the sun.
To be fair, I started at the Ford Garage in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
It was 2005. We weren't that friendly yet.
No. But
we're friendlier more than most of you think. But
anyway, at the worst point, it doubled in size every day for like 5 days. So at the worst point, it was a black spot on the side of my leg that the whole middle had just like turned to liquid and started coming out because they explained to me your body can't handle the venom in it. So what it does, it just sacrifices any infected tissue, and it's just going to keep turning to liquid and running off until it gets rid of all that. And you're going to be left with a hole. We don't know how big it's going to be. Stay on these antibiotics. You'll most likely be fine. Well, whatever. It healed up, and that was early spring that happened. And it's like all summer long. That's back kind of when I started running a little bit. But every time I'd run, it's like you were holding a match right to that spot. It healed over and everything, but it's like it literally burned like there was fire on it anytime I did anything. So I kind of quit running. And then late summer into fall, it's like something weird started happening. It's like that stuff had all healed up. And I start getting like profound fatigue. And it's like I start getting like these muscle spasms all over. Like all of a sudden my arm right here would just like bounce for like half a day. Or like that was like the initial twitchy eyebrow, except nothing was bothering me. You know, it's like it's just goofy stuff like that. And I was just wiped out all the time. And I was that way for like 6 months. And
You should try hangovers once in a while.
I've never been drunk, never going to be drunk. That's beside the point. So eventually it's like, I got to get something looked at here, something ain't right. They're like, you're fine. Nothing's wrong with you. Everything comes back fine. You're good. I'm like, no, there's something going on. I don't know what it is. I'm like, ever since I had that spider bite thing, something ain't been right. And they're like, you got nothing wrong with you. Go home, you're fine. And it was almost a year where I finally went in. I got a different doctor, and she's like, there's a lot about those things that, well, you know, it was almost, I jumped ahead a little bit. This is about time the hole ended up getting drilled in the engine block. And it's like, along with the fatigue, it's like toward the end, I was almost getting like kind of this, just like a brain fog. It was getting hard to think sometimes. And we're in the effort stage that day, and I'm like, we're going to get this frost plug out of here. So at the time, drilling a hole in it with a carbide burr seemed like a good idea because the carbide burr was there and I didn't have to look for a drill bit. Then I drilled a hole in the engine. I'm like, dude, something's got to be, we got to do something here because that's something that should not have happened. So finally get this other doctor, and she said, there's a lot we don't know about these venomous spider bites, and some people have prolonged effects from it. She said, I think there's something that's in your muscle tissue that your body cannot get out. And she asks, what is your exercise routine like? And I'm like, I'm wiped out all the time. I don't exercise or really do anything. She's like, go out and exercise because you need to build lactic acid by working your muscles. And that will stimulate your immune system to go and deal with that within your system. And that's how you start purging it out. And so every day for a week, I'm back in an exercise routine, and it wiped me out. I was flat out. I'm like, I can't do this. And all of a sudden, one day I wake up, it's like you flip the switch, and I was fine. It's like clear thoughts, no more twitching.
I'm telling you right now,
Everything's fine.
if I got to run and exercise for 2 fucking days, I'm done.
Shows. Shoot what's ever chasing you, right?
That's right. We've
So
had this conversation many times.
And that's no excuse. I drilled the hole right through the frost plug, through the engine block, through the piston, and then I'm like, something ain't right here. That. On the flip side, I was never asked to install a block key or anything ever again.
No, not ever.
Meant.
I'd do all of them, bitch.
That was weird stuff.
I agree. Will's out. Well, I appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, we pretty much ignored the live chat for about an hour, I think, now.
Tom A says, stop back in quick. Just donated 50 in memory of my best bud. Was more of a brother than own blood. Cancer took him 2/10 of 2021. Only 52 years old. Good night, everyone. Prayers. Your friend beats this.
Tom, I appreciate you, buddy.
Appreciate it, man.
Where we at?
We've actually gone up in viewership. We're up to 120 now.
Fuck yeah. Get her done.
Virtual donations, it's 13,400. So almost 14.
1340, you got 1,000 from Toby.
Plus, yeah, we're almost at 15.
Imagine donations. I'm gonna give them 500 and fucking repair. Because everybody's been stingy on fucking super chat, so. Give him 500 and repair, and Toby's gonna have to drink another beer here real short. $100! Toby's gotta drink another beer and he can go home.
Damn, I forgot about this one.
Did you do that? Oh
Mhm.
shit. Chug a lug.
It's not even.
So what happened after drilling the hole in the cylinder?
Well, then you picked up with your engine replacement saga on that.
I put another engine in it.
And this was number 3 by this point?
So, customer buys this thing. Same customer that wanted to buy it before Toby drilled a hole in the fucking thing. Buys the damn thing. This time, I don't know if they still do. Jasper engine. I'll never buy a fucking reman Jasper engine in my life.
You've already covered that part.
They, hey, I do this for a living. Some of us don't just fucking fuck around.
He's like a buffer. He always gets back around to where he was.
That's what I do. So they have a
Who's stepping out?
lifetime
Stories I'm gone.
Mr.
lifetime
Stop, that's Paul.
warranty on
Thanks for
and
stopping in,
service
Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
service plan for 36 months on this fucking engine. And the customer that buys this bastard assumes that fucking midgets come to his house in the middle of the night and just changes oil for him. He drives this thing for 30,000 miles with no oil changes, no maintenance, and then blows the bastard up.
How were midgets a part of the story? I'm just gonna leave that one alone.
That's segregation. It's what I do. I don't know.
Keep talking. Engines.
Fat people don't fit under their car in the fucking driveway, do they? I would assume it's a midget.
Engines. Anyway.
Okay.
I'm gonna go have some cold pizza. Keep talking.
So he blows the thing up. I mean, so brings it in for diagnosis with a misfire, quote unquote. This is when I melted this thing down on the test drive. As I drove it into the shop door and the engine locked up. Toby
That
remembers
was a
this.
story in itself because you headed up to the church on 23, about 3 miles out of town.
Yep, and I knew this thing was.
And it started knocking about a mile toward church.
I knew this thing was going to go because I had a scan tool on it, and it's starting to do it's starting to do the lurch and squeak and fucking it's squealing.
You're getting up
Yep.
when that
So
journal's getting ready to spin.
I'm trying to. I'm going through the church parking lot, and I'm trying to just burn a circle because I can't let off the gas.
Yeah.
There is no touching the brake at this point.
If he let off the gas, this thing's gonna lock in your.
So I'm just in it, and I burned all the way back 3 miles back to the fucking Ford garage.
And it's getting worse the whole way.
Yep. Open the garage door, and I just climb over the curb in the street, and that thing goes, and it just locks tight.
And all he sees, the door opens up, and he goes, "Made it."
I just step on the curb like I made
I'm
it.
like, you didn't just blow that up, right? You know, oh boy, I blew it up. And I'm like, haven't you already put 3 engines in that thing?
At that point, I was like, "Yep, I melted her down."
So you did an engine again
Mhm.
because they thought the service plan meant somebody was just going to
Free
change
oil
the oil,
changes, yep.
and they didn't have to worry about it.
And then the next one that came was the 2 head gasket one. It was hemorrhaging oil
Yep.
out of the rear main seal.
Yep.
It was.
Thing of it is that I see it talking in the chat, Jasper Engine's long gone. We actually toured that Jasper Engine plant in the Ford Asset program back at tech school. I remember when that thing was still going. Well, that was that was a Gopher engine. So you put the engine in because they didn't change oil on it and blew up. There was another one yet after that, right?
Yeah, that was the one that had double head gaskets because they
that
put
was the
the
one with 2 head gaskets.
the MLS and the carbon
Yep.
head gaskets. It was absolutely.
If we don't seal it one way, we're going to seal it another.
Yep. And then it wasn't even the head gaskets that were the problem. The rear main seal was just literally dumping oil on the floor.
Nathan said it out.
Nathan, I appreciate you, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Found your channel, Chloe, and the next day was looking through old archives and saw the X253 feature. I couldn't believe it.
X253 or 231?
You said X253.
No, through old Ace and US.
I can still read there, eh?
Archives, yeah, that would be X253.
Oh,
Yeah, but you just said archive. You didn't say ACMOC.
I didn't
You
say
threw
this.
them out. You threw them out.
Oh, yeah, that was my fault.
You guys need to do more live streams together? Question mark.
For it's for a good cause.
No.
Why not?
What about the Toyota engine or Land Rover? I can't remember.
Range Rover.
Well, there was a Toyota engine store. You remember Charlie's
Charlie Kersey.
Tacoma?
Yep.
And Rick ripped
Toby
the cylinder head
can
off
tell
it.
that one.
Rick had to
I
take
would
the cylinder
take
head
it.
off it because it was cracked cylinder head or bad head gasket something. Rick pulls the cylinder head off the damn thing, and he gets the news that it's kind of terminal. So they ask him if he wants to fix it up or not, and he's like, "Nah, we're gonna let that one go." And they always say that, but it never actually works out. This time it actually worked out. So they get car wash kit back there. They tell him, "Why don't you just take all those loose parts in that engine, just get them back in the truck, and we're just gonna push this thing out of here. He's not doing anything with it." So car wash kit's back there, and he gets this one piece, he sets it in. He gets another piece, and he sets it in, on top of the engine and stuff. Rick's like, "What are you doing?" Car wash kit's like, "Putting all the stuff in the truck so we can push it out." Rick's like, "Well, you don't have to be that slow about it." Picks up the cylinder head and just throws that thing on top of the engine. Bam, bam. And I'm like, that's probably not the best idea because these people change their mind all the time and make us put this stuff back together. Rick's like, "I ain't putting that piece back on." But you threw it in. Car wash kid's like, that was one of the few where they said we're going to give up on it, and they actually did because we could.
Well, I didn't have a choice at that point. Fuck them. I was past that point in my career. They can kiss my ass.
I know everybody's got a situation, but it's unbelievable. The more lost cause of a vehicle, the more dead set they were that they were going to fix that.
And this is, I mean, even still.
Case in point, the green Super Duty out there.
Even still, repairs under $100 are hard.
Well, those are the ones that make people mad.
Yep.
You give them a
To this day.
$3,900 estimate, they're like, "Fix it all." It's going to take another $30 tie rod in, and they lose it.
Lose their shit.
I don't think we could tell you've already told the Durango with the stink bomb story. I'm not going to try
I
and
don't know
reenact
that
it.
everybody in here has heard it, but
I'm not even going to try and reenact it because this floor's dirty enough I could literally draw a line in the sand.
Justin says, "I worked on a few Jesper engines that had the crankshafts hitting the bottom of the cylinders. Some grade A remands theirs."
not in the history, never ever would I fucking sell anybody one of those bastards.
Kyle says, "So Toby, how's live been? You going to make an appearance at Borkfest this year? It's 0% guaranteed. Will not. I don't like people that much."
First shop I worked at had a 97 Durango 5.9 come in puking oil and smoke. Could see spark plugs 5 and 6 from below the oil pan. It drove in.
Well, I don't know where the fuck that piece of that piston is, but you remember that fucking 3.5?
Yep, I was going to tell that one too.
All right, go
I
ahead.
think that was an Explorer, wasn't it?
What's that?
That was an Explorer?
Yep.
Non-EcoBoost. Right?
Yep.
But
Naturally aspirated
3.5 V6. And that thing comes in
for an oil leak.
for an oil leak because they said we were driving down the road and all of a sudden smoke started coming out the back of it and it smelled like burning oil. We think something's wrong. And Rick goes to start it on the street and this thing's just rattling and missing, barely runs. I mean, you got it in the shop, barely. It would barely even pull itself. And raise it up, and there's literally a hole in the side of the block, like the middle cylinder on the back. It just something to come apart. And Rick's like, "I'm gonna get this thing." Well, at first you're looking around in there, and it's like there's a loose piece of piston floating around. He's like, "There's a piston's coming apart. I'm gonna get that." So he's in there. You got your bike bits on it.
Well, so on the 3.5, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the rear cylinders are 4, 5, and 6. Number 5 has vacated the fucking block. However, on an Explorer, if it's fucking all-wheel drive, you have a PTU there. So, because the PTU's there, this thing has chucked a fucking chunk of the piston out of the side of the block. But that piece is laying there, and I can't get it. I can't free
And he
it.
wants it.
So
I
I'm like,
finally ended up knocking the hole in the block a little bit bigger so you get your suit.
yeah, because I'm like, fuck it, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter at this
the,
point.
the webbing in the block, it doesn't matter at this point. So I take a big old punch and just smack that bitch. Toby's like, "What the fuck fuck are you doing? I was like, piston.
He got it too.
I did, and then I drove it out of the shop.
It was like a third of the crown. You can see
Yep.
the crown, and it had like a couple of ring grooves left in it. It had been hammered like crazy. But yeah, he got that piece out, and he's like, "Now I'm going to drive this thing out." I'm like, "I don't think you're going to get it running." You did. It took you about 7 or 8 tries, but fine, because it would take and die.
You remember? Well, yeah, because you had to give it all your
Yeah, he
RPMs.
finally just matted it. Well, you had to mat it and then let off just enough that it didn't cut fuel to the injector, so you get that pulse. And once it lit, it's like neutral dropping. Out the door he went, and that thing is smoking and clattering. It drove though.
Had her on mud.
He had the piston on his cart, and he drove the car back out.
Really, explorers, we called exploders.
We still do.
Don't like people that much yet. Host Plow Day. I'm not sure which one of us you're talking to at this point.
I don't so much. Well, I technically host it if it's on my property, but it's entirely planned by that guy. I just show up for the video content.
I don't like you that much, but
The best thing I ever did was let Rick talk me into just not selling him any stumpage off the field. Just he gets it all.
you have no idea how hard that was. The proposal that I gave him. Now, granted, I will be first and foremost to say, I have fucked with everybody's mind up until this point. And Toby couldn't realize that I wasn't actually fucking with
I
them.
know.
It took him, would it take you 6 months?
Well, it was like a year.
Yeah.
It was like a year.
Yeah.
Because you're like, really, it's a good idea, and I'm like, yeah.
He couldn't realize that I had never missed an opportunity up until that point. So I knew that it, all right, maybe you burned your bridges at this point, but he came around.
Dang, this is still going on. Yeah.
Which is, I'm still trying to figure out native atheist.
People's story.
It's from your channel, dude.
Well, you're
You have atheists now or no?
If you click, I don't care what your name is.
That's true.
We're here for the watch minutes.
You got time for questions or don't you?
Yeah.
Not you, them. Or her. I don't know who they are. Fuck, they're atheists.
I'm still waiting for a pine tree and a round bale.
Pine tree and a round bed. Pine tree and a round bed.
Appreciate you.
What was
I
the
got more for
loudest / biggest explosion the
Magic
Ford
puzzle,
prison
figure it
saw?
Plus them.
Oh,
I don't know what the super chats are. We'll figure it out at the end of the live stream. I'm gonna match $500 minimum. So I'm gonna put that out there. Plus what I've given. So I'll match $500 minimum and probably more. So whatever the family needs in repair, service, tires, whatever they need, I'll help them out with that. I'll go up to Ducat and I will sell parts at cost. So there you go.
That's a good report.
Everybody says night, Montana.
Good night, everybody.
Appreciate you. Thanks for coming down. Love you.
How's the pizza? For being 3 hours old at this point, it's actually not bad.
Yeah.
Color of pizza. Good stuff.
If you don't buy Keller pizza, you don't buy anything. You can fuck right off. I'm just saying.
You guys never answered Justin's question.
Which one?
What was that?
What was the loudest / biggest explosion the Ford prison saw?
Well, it sure wasn't Zach trying to seat tires with Ethan.
Well,
You did the latex.
I'll give you this one. You take your pick here.
Okay.
Latex glove with oxyacetylene, or whatever the fuck I was pressing in the hoist that time, or in the press that time. Because I don't.
Well, I can tell you one thing. This wasn't an explosion, but I know we get in the break room. Rick had a way of sneezing, and he covered his face when he did it. Thank God for that. But he could cup his hands to the point where it's like it amplified. I mean, this break room was not that big. It would be about as square as where you guys are looking at us from to about where Rick is, and that's about how big this break room was. It had a table with room for 4 chairs around it. we're sitting in there, and without warning, when he sneezes, it's just, and it's like from him cupping it just right, and the echo going off those walls and back into your eardrums. He would sneeze, and all we hear is, it's like your ears just start ringing, and that happened several times.
That's fair.
No, I think the glove that was filled with the acetylene was probably the biggest
It
factor.
took the lights off the ceiling. It just didn't take the lights off the ceiling and the wall.
What were you pressing that exploded though? Because I remember that
I
too.
think it was an F-150 now, if I recall.
Okay, probably.
Because that was
the
when I
axle.
was jumping on the fucking handle. That was when we still had good seals and leather.
And it probably had the axle was stuck in the wheel bearings.
Yep.
Too, right? Yeah.
And
That was a blast,
all of that bitch came apart.
I'll tell you what though. That time Randy's service cart tipped over though.
That was the loudest I've ever heard in a
It
shop.
literally sounded like I thought a car had come off the hoist.
Bought it for $20.
You borked it all up. It looked like a Mad Max wrap.
Still down there in a pole barn.
Mhm.
Fuck yeah.
Is that the yellow one?
Yeah.
I need to put me a motor on that motherfucker. I'm gonna drag it around. That was my whole goal. If you notice, one side's got you can put a sprocket on it. So.
Oh, I've never looked at it that
Oh
time.
yeah. One of these
Oh,
days.
somebody wanted to hear about the spraying in the bathroom.
Oh God. You want to talk about spraying in the bathroom?
You might as well. That was your deal anyway.
So, car wash
That was
kid.
nice though, Michael.
Fuck you were. So the car wash kid, he was notorious for 30-minute fucking shit breaks, and he gets hunkered down in the bathroom for a long one. I knew it, and pretty soon, I may or may not have drawn it to everybody's attention that he was or wasn't. So I get the goddamn garden hose and. Everybody, if you got carpet or linoleum or hardwood floor, you're going from one floor to another. You got that little fucking threshold.
That little transition strip right there.
Yeah, it's a threshold, right?
No.
So it is what it is. I didn't know. So I go over there. My plan was we had a bathroom that was half the size of a porta potty.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
you can wash your hands and shit at the same time. I mean, really. So, you could go in and turn around, but that was it. So,
Funniest part of that, there's always a Rick Bork size handprint on the wall right above it. It's the same place.
that was not my fucking handprint to start with. That's all I got blamed for.
Same
And
spot every time.
Side story.
Yeah.
We'll get back to that one. So, he's in there and he's hunkered down for a minute. So my plan is to go over there and throw the garden hose under the threshold of the door just until water starts running back up. So I'm standing there and I'm just spraying. Don't hear much going on, but air compressor's running, tools are going on, I'm just holding this son of a bitch there. And he goes, pretty soon I'm like, man, fucking no water going on here. So I just keep holding. Pretty soon, you get a little trickle. All right, fuck, I'm out. Go back to work. Pretty soon, he comes busting out of the door, and he's just fucking soaked. I mean, from fucking his mid-chest down, he is fucking soaked. Well, what I didn't realize is that fucking water jet hitting that threshold, going in at 45, was going back up at 45. And it was just... It was spanning everything, and he was doing all he could to keep his, everything together. And then by the time I let off and he got out of the door, he was just completely soaked.
He was so mad he didn't care who did it.
Yeah, it didn't matter at that point. He was so mad it didn't matter. Man, I got it well back in the car. Back into the car,
Oh,
and
no,
sparks
Bill.
at the airbag. It was so.
Hey, we didn't finish the sentence. He did that. Anyway.
It was the airbag.
Talking about me and drinking another beer.
Fuck it up. I got the
That's how you
idea.
know you hit it right there.
You guys want to read or no? Or you want me to try to take over and hyphenate for you because you can't fucking keep up?
Well, at this point, I'm not
2 beers
sure.
and a Mountain Dew. Well, two Mountain Dews and 2 beers.
Yeah,
All right. You all right or no?
yeah, I'm just fine.
All right.
Those beers went down easier than you think.
Yeah. I was more concerned about the Mountain Dews than the beers.
Tim Branky, he's still in. He's the guy from my side.
Well, obviously, because it's not color coded. I do that because all the people I know are blue.
Isn't he?
I'll read like, yeah, you're welding car and sparks and airbag curtains from loud. Oh, yeah. That's how Rick would. That's exactly how Rick would read it.
Made sense to me.
That's the problem.
Is it a problem or is it your
I
problem?
remember the story about the air compressor water drain. That is a fact.
Inflated 12-inch
Oh,
forklift
God.
tube until it went bang. It was 8 feet across when it let go. 10 minutes later, the cops came by asking about gunshots.
Well, did you ever read about that one?
Toby got the cops call on one time.
World War II German tank Stug 3. Oh, you had a Stug 3 in a
Toby got the cops call on one time.
and built a gas powered gun for it.
Just saying, Toby's got the cops call on him before.
Seriously, if you had a Stug 3 in your shop, I'd have been drooling over that thing.
He's still ignoring the fact that he's still got the cops call on him one before.
When was that? Was that when we were out at the cabin shooting?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the cops got called on all of us.
It was still you.
No, that was only 1/3 of it. It was me, you, and Jaco, so I was only 1/3 of it.
That was still you, bud.
I remember your phone rings though, and we're just blasting out there, and all of a sudden you're like, "Ah, stop it!" We're like, "All right, stand down." Yeah. Oh, the officer's there right now.
Yeah.
Said they heard somebody in the woods yelling. Over all those gunshots, sure they threw somebody in the woods yelling. Well, it ain't us. Am I? It's like, yeah, cops are at the farm.
Yeah, and they were. We were kind of semi-shooting this way, but anyway, it didn't matter. We were like, yeah, holy shit, there's a lot of people out there in the yard. Fuck.
All right. Chop time with Dave. All right, friends of our call for tonight. So we don't forget Casey's plow boats. Will do. Thanks, Dave.
Don't worry.
Told me the studs
Still
belong.
belongs to a friend of mine. Visiting band of brothers. Oh yeah, So that was the one that they used for the movie then, if I read that right. Yeah, that old World War II armor. That's right up my alley. That's some good stuff.
He's into that shit. He geeks out. I like when Toby geeks out because then I can make fun of him.
Yeah, he makes fun of me whether I geek out or not. You might as well geek out.
It's easier when he geeks out, though. So trying to figure out where the fuck I put Kyle's plow boats. Oh, never mind. Play hide and go seek.
Loudest noise I ever experienced was the something AFT 5-inch doing a fire for effect. It was a night and I was walking towards it when it happened. My ears still ring from that.
I will tell you, a latex glove slightly overfilled with oxygen and acetylene, detonated with ether, will take the fucking lights out of the ceiling in the shop really fast.
World War II had some cool looking vehicles too. Panzer Kampfwagen 6. If anyone knows what that is. That's my favorite. If I had to have anything, that would be the Panzer Kampfwagen 6, otherwise known as Tiger 1.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna be German about it.
No, that was the official designation. Tiger 1 tank.
Toby, he has some videos of it test firing here on YouTube. Search Chuck Stug.
So we're gonna geek out here, so Rick can make fun of me. I like it. So the Soviet T-34 would be like, "Ooh, I've got the sloped armor. See, it doesn't have to be so thick, but sloped because it's all cool." And Tiger 1 walks up, and it's just the slab of absolute flat front armor. And he's like, "That's cool." 88 goes kapow.
Toby, you need to talk to John about the Hulk 5-ton he has, armor machine from
Yep.
World War I.
Holes and all. Looks sweet next to the 20.
Yeah, there you go.
That's when they armored up the engine and the machine, and they just let the driver sit on in the wide open seat.
Yeah, get her done, tater chip.
All right, is it a dumpster fire yet? Oh, Rick's been, he's been swearing for about 2.5 hours, so.
What?
Half-track trucks look awesome. Yeah, they did.
Lunchtime gun stories? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
We don't want to talk about lunchtime. Lunchtime was a fucking free for all. I'm just gonna say, if you wanted to back somebody into a fucking terrible story, lunchtime was the day to do it. You only had 15 minutes at break, but if you needed 30 minutes, you got it. Holy shit. That's how we got into fucking. I shouldn't lead off with fucking cousins, but cousins. Fucking.
John Deere Lindemann crawler in Iowa Museum sat on the dealer floor for 20 plus years before it ever sold. Yeah, at the Nowland Minneapolis Marine feature in 2018, a guy had a Minneapolis Marine Z that had, it was like 15 actual hours on it from new. And he found it in this widow's basement of the house. It was a walkout style basement. And her husband had bought it brand new. And something about it he didn't like he decided he needed a live PTO instead. And something where the tractor didn't work out. And old farmers back then didn't get rid of anything. And a lot of farmers still don't. But I mean, he was one of those guys, he never got rid of anything. He just bought a brand new tractor, decided it wasn't really what he wanted. So he throws it under the house in the basement and goes and buys another tractor. And it pretty much stayed there until she decides, I'm moving off the place, we gotta get rid of this thing. And a Moline collector from, I think, Iowa found it and snatched it up. And I actually drove that one at Nelvin because they were storing it off in the.
Mr. Squatch, we have a student with his hand raised.
No. They were storing it in one of the sheds on the edge of the building, and I was one of the guys that pulled it out, drove it, and got it up parked in the line. It's like, seriously, you could tell that was a brand new tractor. There was no play, anything, nothing. Yes, Ricky?
Isn't it funny how you get once in a while you can find somebody that's weirder than you?
Mm-mm.
Just a little bit weirder.
I've never found anybody that's weirder than me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What is your ace then? When you think that you're not weirder than anybody, what's your ace?
You can be weirder than me if you want. I mean, I'll let you wear that.
But you have to have a card to play.
I'll pull up a chair. We'll talk.
Okay.
There you go.
So what's the card that you play? We talk. And then what? You go, do you know Rick Bark? Or your viewers go, do you know Rick Bark? And you go, fuck. Right?
Pens or half tracks, kind of interesting. That is the SKD ZF 26, I believe. I got to catch up on chat.
Get it? I don't have to. You guys are in church. Connor said it was his duty tonight that was his responsibility, so. Read to me.
Check out Battleship New Jersey Museum. I've looked at it a few times on YouTube. I did. I saw the machine shop one where they had the overhead tracks where the cranes would bring in like long pieces of shafting and stuff to all the milling machines and lathes.
Second, Justin's recommendation would have loved to have served on an Iowa class battleship. What was Justin's recommendation?
I'd do stupid shit. Count me in.
At least the chat finally slowed down enough where we can keep up with it.
It's going pretty heavy there at first. Of course, it is
Yeah.
11:22.
Yeah, but we still got 83 people in here.
Squash was quite attractive for a while.
There's something about stories about hearing Rick hurt himself that I think everybody takes a certain amount of joy in.
That's fair.
I believe my grandpa's note says
Fuck you, you get your video tomorrow.
I've got one to put on the public feed tomorrow, and another one's in the pipe right now.
No, I mean, you're going to get your video tomorrow.
I'll get mine. Okay, that's fine.
Ship sail. You know what I mean?
Well, there's going to be plenty of sound bites of me going,
Yeah. Especially when you're just raping fucking taps for no reason. Taking 5 taps to make 20 holes. I mean, good lord. I don't think I didn't watch that video.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't comment is because you know this is coming in hindsight.
I know.
Good
I
lord.
know.
God, yo, cutting oil is a real thing. You know that?
That was with cutting oil. I'm not kidding you.
Oh, okay. Happy for you. Sometimes you gotta turn the tap the other direction.
Would have been cool to see that in the 15 hours, not repainted. Well, here's the thing. He chromed it up. Chrome pipe. He chromed like throttle lever handle. He chromed a couple of the engine covers, and for me, chrome anything on a vintage tractor is just blasphemy. Everybody's got their thing. I'm not going to tell anybody they can't do it, but I would not have chromed that thing. I just left
I like
it just
chrome,
as it was. I like chrome where it belongs. Everybody's got their thing. I left the D2 just in regular patina, and I even faked patina, and that really rubbed a lot of guys the wrong way. But
I'm Googling Chrome all things right now, so
Do
just,
you
just
miss?
so you know.
Do you miss the blue waffle?
not really, honestly. That V10, that red one, I'm kind of liking that truck.
Do you?
Which
I
of-
do.
which-
Seriously, I do.
Which of you actually got hurt more at Ford?
Well, Rick physically, probably me mentally.
Any plans on looking into the RD6 up the road at any time soon?
I think it's still there.
Hey, when are we building a shop or no?
Well, we're building a shop when building materials are not stupid. We have more estimates in the works right now. We're going to see what things look like this year.
If only somebody had offered like the last 2 times they'd really regret for estimates to help out. But
Well, I know somebody offered, but he's
because I've always failed to show up, right? Who's your only friend that's ever fucking showed up for you?
Connor.
He doesn't. He look at him, look at you. He's like, when did that happen? He's like, what?
Victor's
Victor's
in.
in.
Victor, what's going on, buddy?
I polished the fuck out of the visible aluminum on my pulling tractors to make the painted chrome less visible.
Lumber's back down, but corrugated metal is outrageous.
That's funny because, like Kyle was showing me the other day, like just pretty much regular working steel is a lot better than it was last summer when I was buying it like crazy.
Fucking told you that.
Yeah, but I believe Kyle.
Fair.
See?
I'll give you that because,
Hello, my comrades.
The supposed story behind our 100 hedgerows, the guy bought it brand new, then got out of farming at the end of that year, but kept it around. My grandpa bought it at an auction with about 750 hours on it.
damn.
Jack says he's still
Grumpy farm teacher, grumpy shop teacher says that bourbon's kicking in.
Grumpy shop teacher, thanks again for the contribution, you and your students. Much appreciated, bud.
Regular steel is cheap, but not corrugated tin.
That figures. They're waiting until after I build my building, and then they're just gonna.
You act like it's still that fucking goddamn tough.
Yeah, I'm pretty.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you are. Fuck you, dude.
I'm still living in my motorhome.
There's a whole fucking. We could talk about reinvesting and buying shit.
I'm still living in my motorhome at my shop for 3 years now, waiting for building materials to come down.
Who's still asking to borrow shit and asking for fucking tech tips? I'm just saying.
I ain't asked you for nothing.
Huh? How
I
much have I asked you for?
Nothing.
And there you go. We know one guy.
I have an old U.S. Navy diesel book if you want it, Toby. Found it at a thrift store.
I got a couple at home.
Boys and girls, it is 11:30.
That is.
Squash probably wants to go home. I gotta go check the wood stove.
I can guarantee the roads aren't any better than when I showed up.
So, I appreciate y'all. I don't know where we're at because Montana has done left us, but
Throw one more in Rick. Aluminum
hey,
stash.
you hit the fucking transmission. That's
Yeah,
all
because
good.
it's made of aluminum. I hit it 3 times already.
Oh Lord.
Take a look at everything here real quick.
Squatch is gonna check in, see where we're at.
What
He's
we
gonna
got?
have another beer if we're at 15. Done told you.
Let me wait a little bit.
If you connect to my Wi-Fi
Yeah.
or not.
I was gonna check for my.
I got Starlink. Hey, when you getting Starlink or no?
I would, but then you put out that video about him raising the race, and I got all.
The whole $10 is gonna kill you, eh?
Yeah, it's tough.
You should see the link that I sent, or the video that I sent them that I didn't put on YouTube.
Really?
Oh, yeah. You know me. They got their own video privately. But I was like, bitch, I will make this public.
Elon doesn't care. Elon sent a
I
maintenance
don't care.
down after you.
I just wanted to fuck up somebody's day.
Ram says $75 away from 15,000.
Really?
So he's
That's
gonna have
awesome.
another beer for
That's
that.
awesome because my Amish internet is not keeping pace.
15. Okay, I'll pull it up.
My phone's died, otherwise I could pull it up.
I still got 40 in my battery.
Woohoo! Look at you guys. I got 43. Yeah. I've been the one responsible tonight. So
Dalton, he says out. He's out. Have a great night, Rick.
$75. Toby's gonna have another beer.
Oops, 14,000.
Starlink is great. Toby, get it. I'm not saying it isn't great, and anything's going to be
I
better than
don't know,
anything like that.
$75. Toby's gonna have another beer either way. Might not be on here, but he's gonna have another beer. So.
Toby doesn't like chrome or alternators.
No, I don't like alternators on tractors. No.
Logan's
Logan's out. Appreciate you, buddy. Yep, this ain't all happening on this phone tonight. Rick, you don't have the best signal off the tower in this bird.
You need to connect to the Wi-Fi, eh?
See, Kyle's agreeing on the alternators.
Kyle, have you seen fucking Scotty Kilmore's fucking video about jump starting the vehicle or no? 13,425.
Alternators are more rebuildable. Did I read that? right?
reliable.
Or reliable.
So 13,425. Scratch.
And then there's the cash on top of that.
Okay.
That was at least 11.
You gave Montana 1,000. I gave Montana 340. I'm gonna match everything in maintenance. So I'm gonna say if we got, and Alex has got $20, Sonny's got $50, Toby's gotta have a beer. $50 super chat, I'll match. So if we match on a super chat,
Shannon says, have you seen the alternator that looks like a
I'll
generator?
show you guys the match all day long, any day of the week. Anybody that knows me,
Seriously.
$50. Anything you guys are gonna do right now, I'm gonna match for maintenance and upkeep on their vehicles any day of the week.
Seriously, everybody, it's been great. Appreciate y'all tonight.
$50. Come on, let's get it.
Have you seen the alternator? It looks like a generator. Yes. Yeah, they actually make those kits.
Yeah, there's a
Look.
guy that makes them too. That they're called generator is what he
Yeah.
calls them or whatever.
Well, EVs are the same way. They're using the alternator to start the vehicle, so they're alternator and starter at the same time. They just reverse polarity and
They did that a lot on those garden tractors back in the day too.
but electric vehicles are a fucking shit show.
Kyle says, yes, Rick, I was the one that said he must have never seen a dual alternator vehicle like an ambulance.
See,
The ambulance Ford stories.
not only did I fucking see them, I owned one. My white 01 had dual alternators.
Yeah, you remember every time we get new cables in the hoist without fail, within a month, there was an ambulance that came in and stretched them right back out again.
Oh yeah. Give her pics, Rex says. Appreciate you, buddy. Playing the members badge. Come on now. I'll give you $10 credit on the members badges, so let's get it.
Those ambulances were heavy too. It's amazing.
Fucking right they were.
Oh my god.
You can lift them for fuck all.
But then there was that F450 that they Will River had that big
30. We need 30. Scotch is drinking a beer for 30.
they had that big welder air compressor in the back, that 450 flatbed. That's that one where he did the axle seal himself and then didn't pack the bearings when he put it back together. He sheared the bearings, started locking up, overheated the axle shaft, sheared the axle shaft off, and welded it inside the axle tube to the point we couldn't get that apart. He had to replace the entire
Sledgehammer
rear
and a
axle.
fucking round bar. I couldn't drive the center section of that tube, that axle shaft out. It dropped and welded itself to the axle tube.
And then you could only get that thing lifted like 2 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
That's where it stopped with the hoist.
Toby knows me as well as anybody. If anyone can hit something with a fucking hammer, as he's always said, don't be the nail.
Oh, this just in from Cody. He says, put the helmet on. $100 from Cody Endergaard.
Oh shit! Is he still watching?
He must be.
Fuck's
He
sake!
just sent me the text. Appreciate you, Cody.
I don't know where the fuck the helmet. Did you put the
It's
helmet
right
back?
there,
Fuck's sake!
drunkie.
Yeah, so Rick got to replace the entire rear axle in that F450 with the hoist about 2 feet off the ground, and that's the one where even the carrier was so heavy, you just
10-5
about couldn't lift it.
fucking damn near
Oh,
killed
that
me.
thing's bad. We had
I
another,
can't drink a beer with my mask down, so
we had another North Pine truck. Remember it? The old boss, Roy.
what?
Sunglasses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the old boss, Roy.
You thought that was funny too, didn't you?
You're spitting a little bit, dude. You're spitting. Put your visor down if you're gonna talk. He needs a windshield wiper on the inside. Yeah, the old boss, Roy. He got that reman transmission for that North Pine dump truck, and that was on that pickup that had that box liner, that old plastic one that was kind of slippery all the time. He takes off out on the street, had the tailgate down, and that thing rolls right out of the back of that truck, right off the tailgate. Lands upside down in the gutter. The transmission crate busts open. That thing's upside down. Transmission fluid running down in the floor drain. We picked that thing up off the ground, and then I had to go put it in a North Pine excavating dump truck. And that was another one. That's when we only had the 2-post yet. We didn't have the drive it. And you couldn't trust that thing more than a foot off the ground without ripping that 2-post right out of the floor.
Yeah, I just got another 40.
I'm underneath that thing trying to put this transmission in. It's already been upside down after it landed, falling 5 feet out on the street, hoping that everything's going to work.
You're gonna dial up that shit.
I'm pretty sure he said that. Cody sent that text message like hours ago.
Probably. It just rang through.
Can I take this off yet or no?
You can do whatever you want. You're gonna
Yeah, Cody says, "Shit, I said that 3 hours ago."
Honestly, it just rang through. It went boop. I pull it out. I'm like, hey, Cody's got $100.
Seriously?
Yeah. Oh, my internet's worse than dial-up bad.
I got fucked on that deal, didn't I?
Yeah.
You're gonna have fun, man.
What's that for?
Because you're a 3-beer limit.
All right. Already put 2
I
away.
gotta put a hat on because it's scary even for me. Can't even see my own fucking eyebrows. It's just weird. Look at me.
It's like
It's
like
bad.
the old Saturday
Look at
Night
it.
Live.
It's just
It's
bad.
the old Saturday Night Live skit where they had the eggheads. The coneheads. The coneheads.
Oh my god. How funny is that? You know what I mean? Holy fuck. The contrast is terrible. Look at I mean, holy shit. Matthew Shelley's back.
Your head is quite shiny, pupil.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
I mean,
Oh, man.
it's remarkable. Holy shit.
Tiger Run, a 608 horsepower in 1942. Yeah, Maybach. I think it was a Maybach V12 they had in it.
Do we get money from Kyle and him? Or should I just shred his
I don't know if we've got money from Kyle yet.
Masking.
Hey, Kyle, have we got money from Kyle yet tonight?
Robert wants to know if you guys have a P.O. box to send your stuff to.
No, but if you 218-206-3947. Look at my shirt right there and zoom her in.
Consume mass quantities. That's definitely a retort channel.
If you can, if you send me a text message, I will give you an address to send them to, and then I'll make sure the funds go directly to them. You're not going to make any checks out to me or any of that funny shit. It's going to go to the people that need it. So I'm not like that. You can even ask Toby.
No, you can trust Rick. He's good shit.
He had to think about it. Dickhead.
It's funny. One of my members put up a suggestion. It's like, oh, maybe we could do like a bingo draw or something tonight where Toby has to say Rick Bork phrases. What they don't realize is I've said everything you've said on here, just never said.
I'm like, oh. So I'm already processing. I'm like, which one? I'm like, your go-to is going to have to be so. Slow pause. I don't know. Or RG Woodworks at hotmail.com. Yeah, you can send me an email.
Kyle's geeking out on the tank specs now.
Damn, Rick. Are you matching donations? I went straight to the forgiving site. So I'm gonna match
Anything came in like super chat.
anything, any super chats. I'm gonna match in repairs and services that they need for their vehicles.
Yeah.
Because
YouTube takes like a 45% cut of anything that gets
Yeah.
super chatted here, and then Rick's going to get taxed like another 30 on top of that.
so I'm not gonna have enough at the end of it, but I'll match it. So, and I will give them parts at cost on top of that. So
yeah, either way is good.
So if somebody's going to super chat me, I'm going to match. And I don't know where we're at. I don't know if it's up on the screen. It might not be. It depends on. Some nights it is, and some nights it's not. $500 minimum. So I'm going to give them $500 minimum. And if we're going to get super chats that lead up to that, I will match above and beyond. So
What was the goal for tonight?
Whatever we could do,
all of it.
all of it.
I mean, it's a fundraiser. Right? There should never be I would think when you're doing good deeds for good people, there should never be a quote unquote limit. They need money to get by. There doesn't need to be a goal. You just get all of it, right? So, fuck yeah. Grant, I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for chiming in, man.
Kyle Chris, Tiger 2 supercharged and fuel injected version rated for 1,200 horsepower. Yeah, but the transmission was still pretty much the same as the Tiger 1, and it really couldn't hold up to the Tiger 1 and the Tiger 2. Pretty much meant you couldn't drive it over like 3 miles an hour, otherwise you're pulling the whole front of the tank apart to replace the transmission. They're doing it all the time. Finals were just hatching in those things too. They had like a 70-ton vehicle with a drivetrain that was rated for about a 35-ton vehicle. It wasn't great.
I will match all in above above $500. So whatever we get to, I'm going to 500 anyway. So we're gonna match above and beyond. So whatever you guys want to do, I appreciate
Best
it.
live/YouTube video. I think. Thank every one of you guys who do this. Cheers. And thanks right back at y'all.
Justin, I appreciate you, buddy.
Seriously, we weren't the ones that did this. This is all you guys.
We just get together and talk shit.
Well, we have a lot of fun. We do a lot of stupid stuff, but it's not very often we can do something that
Well,
counts.
that's why we keep it that way, right? You know.
I agree with Alex. I think Kyle is avoiding the question
Yeah.
that Toby posed.
Yeah, we've been googling Tiger tanks like crazy here for a while, but we'll get it out of you one way or another, Kyle. I'm just warning you.
Work hard for 2 mags on a V12. You're definitely neat.
What question, he says? About how much you donated.
Montana here to check facts anymore, so. Yeah, I mean, she counted fucking Toby's money, so I'm just saying.
And she's the reader of the family, so.
Shut up. We weren't that far away from Toby drinking another beer. I'm
He
just saying.
knows he's got to come.
Alex says, "Yep, he is avoiding the question."
I'll match all above. I'm just saying. However y'all want to do it.
You hear somebody drive up?
I don't give a fuck. Probably gonna get arrested at some point anyway.
I'll check. I'll go check.
I got it. I got to piss anyway.
I'll check it out.
How much for another beer? $40. Toby's gonna go start his truck anyway. I know that's what he's alluding to.
Holy crap!
It's a lot of snow out there, right? Worst part is you got two choices. You're gonna have to stay here to drink beer, or you're gonna.
Hey everybody, this is Kyle. We just made her from South Dakota. I know what y'all are thinking. These are my real sleeves. Yes. I wanted to wear them so you'd recognize me. I didn't comb my hair, but
Dude, hold on. I don't have any lip towel.
all I can say is D4, Duramax, and
Do we have to do an oil test or no?
roads are kind of bad, guys. I gotta we'll get moving again. I gotta say, Rick, the shop is great. It's warm in here. If mine was this warm, I'd have gotten my wood stove hooked up like months ago, but it's what it is. Peace out, everybody. D4. Chris heading back, South Dakota. Can you believe that guy? Seriously, he literally crossed the state line just to go in here and crash the light string.
Shannon says, how much for Rick to belly flopping in the snow? $250. $250, but it's got to be a donation, and I got to see proof. All right? You can throw it as super chat. I'll match. I will match as super chat. Above 500, by the way. It's going to be a fucking... Do you want to see me fucking belly flop into this? I mean...
I've seen it a lot of times. It's not what you think.
I'm just asking if this is what you really want to see, but... God damn.
You remember that time that, well, you were drunk. We were over at Randy's place. We were trying to light some fireworks. I think it was New Year's Eve. And he had some gas that was so bad it actually put out the match.
Okay, but here's the deal.
And
I didn't fall down.
No, but you
And
probably
shit
would
was sketchy as shit.
you
all
would
right?
have looked cooler if you had fallen down and not ran like you ran.
Okay. I was not running, to be fair.
Probably bad saying there's diesel fuel in the pump.
I don't think I've ever been trolled that hard. By who? When? Where? Tonight? Or when?
Kyle, appreciate you for stopping in,
Is
buddy.
that excavator running? I don't think I have any frost. I have a few bucks on Time Saver. It can be running in a minute if I order a track for that bitch. Well, I got it ordered, but yeah, we can get her done for you, Grant, in the spring. Not right now, because I got
Joe's cutting out.
fixed.
Appreciate you, bud.
Joe, I appreciate you, buddy. I'm still looking for Kyle to elaborate here, because I've trolled the fuck out of Kyle. For all the things I did for you, and you still can't answer a simple question. But anyway.
No, it's usually Connor taking it on the chin. Connor's a good kid.
What?
First rule of Bork Club. Well, we don't talk about Bork Club. Second rule of Bork Club. If you're a
gonna
member
be
of
here,
the
you're gonna
fold,
take the shit.
you're gonna take some of it.
He learned. His first offense is he was going to be like me, and he was like, I don't want to be like you anymore. he learned pretty quick. He was like, this is just you're an evil man. And I'm like, no, if you have the opportunity to switch something on someone immediately and you can't do it, you're done. That, you know,
Well, should we about wrap her up here, boys?
probably. I thought we were gonna get a match, but fuck, we need 40.
We're about 12 minutes until tomorrow right now.
We need 30.
Night, guys. Great stories. Appreciate you stopping in, man.
Appreciate y'all. We did a great deed for a great family. So everything that you guys did tonight is not lost on any of us, and it means the world to the family and to me. And I will match all and above and up to above and beyond $500. So thank you guys.
It's awesome, man.
It's been a great night. So
Joe, that was Kyle. He actually stopped in.
we got her.
You gonna cut her, Connor?
I guess so.
Thanks again, everybody. Appreciate the hell out of it.
Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate you.